Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 152 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the man who does not work at Bethesda's customer support. He's not moderating your reviews. It's Lord Cognito. Cog, how are you doing today?
Yo, Matty, what's going on, man? Oh, tired.
I can definitely agree with that. Very tired.
Very tired. Very tired. A lot going on. Yeah. A lot of changes. But stuff I'm not ready to talk about publicly yet, but obviously my man's in the Dukes, he knows what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We will disclose it in due time, you know what I'm saying? Sure. But no, just a lot going on, and just trying to get a lot of stuff in order. End of the year, as you said, I'm moving at 100 miles an hour this week. But first, how are you doing? It seemed very festive going on. We got the tree out already.
Yes.
Ranger's shirt looking fly. He's ready. He's in hockey mode. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Rangers are filthy, so I'm here to wear my shirts and start tearing them down. I got the Christmas tree behind me. We've been decorating the house these last couple of weeks. First time decorating the new home, so it's really nice.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, man, I'm shot. I am feeling really tired this week. It's just I've not been getting good sleep.
Me too. It's been a bad sleep week,
dude. It's always something waking me up 3 hours after I fall asleep. One night, it's Rufus retching on the floor. I'm like, okay, get up, clean up some bile. Okay, back to bed. Then another night, my stomach's acting up. I'm like, dude, I just want to go to bed and then wake up in the morning. That's it. And then he got neutered today. So that's a whole other layer of stress on top of everything. So we got to watch him a little more closely. Yeah. But he's been a really good boy. So yeah, it's been a lot this week. Just like you, banging out a lot of things last minute here as we wrap up for the end of the year. You and I are going to be out of here by December 15th. And then our holiday break begins. So crazy to think 2 weeks away from all of that, but just still so much to talk about this week. Very excited to be here. Yeah. And we got an announcement, and we have a lot of really good write-ins this week that were more personal. We had more personal write-ins than I think we've had in a long while. Really just people very thankful for what we're doing. And we're going to read a lot of that. So I think that'll open up the door for us to talk about a little more going on in our respective lives. But the announcement is that we're officially a Spotify partner. So you've always been able to listen to our podcasts on Spotify, but they reached out to me specifically and were like, hey, you want to join our partner program? So I forwarded it to Dustin because, that's Dustin stuff, right? And I was like, hey, man, let's set this up. And so, they've brought us into our partner program. That doesn't mean anything's going to change if you don't listen off of Spotify. But what it does mean is that you might see us actually promoted on the Spotify front page and whatnot, which is really exciting, especially because, and this is not to flex, but just so people understand, this was an offer that was made exclusively for us in the Last Stand family. I told Dustin, because the reason I put it this way, I was like, obviously they want Sacred. They just may have missed it. But they wanted us as the test run, which is really cool. So they're supporting us, and they want to help us grow on the mobile front, which is something that I've said before. The listeners have been really instrumental in helping us grow with your mobile reviews. And this is what we're talking about. They've taken note of that growth, and they want to help us reach the next level. And so, we are Spotify partners. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show, whether it's video or audio or wherever. It doesn't matter. It's just we're glad you're here, and you've provided us a next step up. So, you can listen to our show as always on Spotify. It's not going to change the opening promotions I do about Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Patreon, all that stuff. But just know Spotify, they've partnered with us. And so, we're pretty excited about this moving forward to see what it develops into. Because now we can, if we were to ever travel, we have access to their studios, their podcast studios, which is
that is a live
pretty baller
with Cog and Matty.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we could do an in-person Duke or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh man, that'd be fine.
We should think about that.
We should. No, we do. We should for sure. And
anyway, shout out to Spotify.
Shout out to Spotify. Very humbling. And love elevation. Elevation is always there.
Yes, sir. As always, though, you can find us in early access form over on patreon.com/laststandmedia. I looked, because I haven't checked in a while, I don't know if I misread. We have over 16,000 members, which is pretty intense.
We
I had
outside.
no idea.
We outside.
Yeah, I had no idea. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's been signing up, supporting all of our shows. You can get early access to Defining Duke over there alongside Defining Duke Ultimate, where Cog, you're handling this next upcoming episode. So we'll just leave that in the dark for now. Yeah, we'll keep that to the
I got
side.
somebody's cooking. I just want to make sure the plan comes together with whom and stuff like that.
Excellent.
But yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Now, you can also write in over on patreon.com/laststandmedia like many of you did this week. We want to start off with Jacob Rush because, we'd like to get the good vibes rolling early in this show. And what better way to do it than with this lengthy write-in? So bear with us here. Jacob writes, "Good day, Dukes. I'm a longtime listener and supporter, but this is the only time I've written in back on Matty's Ham Radio podcast. I've actually followed Matty since well before Fallout 4 and was introduced to Last Stand through him. So thank you for that, Matty. Last Stand and the work all of you guys do is truly a blessing. I don't even have an Xbox and I tune in for pretty much every episode. I've seen other people say the same thing. So it's a testament to the job you guys do with the show. Thank you for that. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'd like to show gratitude and give you guys a proper acknowledgement of what y'all do week in, week out. And get ready, Cog. This one, like, I think it just pulls at the heartstrings. You know what I mean? So a lot of love for both of us here. He says, Matty, you are without a shadow of doubt one of the hardest working people I've ever seen in my life. I've watched you consistently grind since I was like 15, dude, and now I'm 24. Close to a decade. You deserve everything you have. And I feel like you've only just scratched the surface of your potential, your growth as a person, your work ethic, your ability to overcome obstacles life throws at you. The manner in which you carry yourself and your humility is not only commendable, but it is inspiring. Add to that the talent and skill as an analyst and a host. You've been a great source of joy during the darkest times of my life, and I am grateful. Damn. Thank you. Thank you. We'll talk more in a sec. Cog, I haven't followed you nearly as long as Matty, as I was introduced to you through Defining Duke, but in that time, you've made an impact on me as well. I can't remember on which show or with whom, but I remember you talking about your journey and how you ended up where you are now. You said something along the lines of, I wasn't happy with what I was doing, so I did something else. I needed to hear those words, man. It is insane how easy it is to become complacent and accept the circumstances you fall into as status quo. I was 19 and homeless with no support, trying to take care of my little brothers and making sure they graduated high school. I never planned or really thought out my own future, as my mindset was set on what I need now or tomorrow. They both have been graduated for a few years now, and the mindset that helped me survive then is obsolete, and I have struggled with trying to change that. I still constantly feel like I'm in fight or flight mode and struggle to plan long-term goals. I'm not happy with what I'm doing, but just like what you did, I'm doing something different. I'm joining the Navy to do cybersecurity with the intentions of getting all my certifications so I can get out in a few years and have a comfortable and stable life. Maybe it's what I'm meant for, but even if it isn't, I'm moving forward and I'm sure I won't regret it. Thank you for that, Cog. I haven't had a lot of positive influences in my life. All my friends are dead, locked up, or tweakers. I haven't had family in a long, long time either, other than my siblings. No one older to look for knowledge or wisdom. I know I am meant for more, though, and you guys have helped me begin to move past my trauma and dream of a better future. You guys are an inspiration and role models for me, and I wholeheartedly believe that there are others who feel as I do. I am thankful for all of you this Thanksgiving season. That is incredibly sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, brother, that is just beyond inspiring because, again, you know, we talked about it in the past and, you know, as content creators and people who've been, you know, doing this for a long time and podcasting, you know, you forget. Sometimes you do forget, you know, the influence you have, and to hear Jacob's story, to hear his perseverance with his situation, using our situations and following what's going on with us and with the Dukes is really inspiring, that we know that we're encouraging them that way. And man, that means a lot, man. It really does. I'm glad it's practical application, applying it to his life and then making changes, doing what he has to do. And the fact that even though we say we tired and sometimes we like, oh man, it's going to be rough, you know, and to hear that inspires me, man. Like, thank you for that. And I'm really wishing you the best. And it feels good to hear that we have that effect, but ultimately that you're having a positive effect on yourself and making changes. That's dope.
Absolutely. The ability to reflect is so important in all of us, and to look in the mirror and understand when you're not happy with something. You don't have to tear yourself down when you don't like what you see, but that you can make meaningful, positive change. And it's amazing what 24 hours can do, right? Just to reflect and make a decision on a path, right? Before you even take any action. It's all about the mindset. So I'm glad, Jacob, that, you know, you've looked at yourself and by the way, that you're an incredible family member and have helped those who could not take care of themselves, help them first. I have a very close friend who was in a similar situation and had to drop out of high school to get a job and take care of his family. And he's one of the most incredible people I know. So it sounds like you're just like him, Jacob, and that's awesome. So I appreciate your kind words on what I do, because just like Hog mentioned, like sometimes you get in the thick of it, you just don't realize. Like for me, I'm just out here grinding typically 7 days a week, and I don't think much of it. Not to sound like I'm getting egotistical about it, but I just don't think about it. It's become second nature. But I appreciate that you've recognized that and taken something away from it, because I think, in that sense, I'm not special. I think anyone can do that. We're all capable of that. And so I'm just glad that you're taking that next step for yourself. And of course, best wishes on your journey to do cybersecurity. That's very exciting. So best of luck to you, my friend.
Love it, man. Elevation. Continue on.
This one, Cog, I thought you'd want to hear. We got a bit of a health update from Jamie Fraley. Hey, Dukes, just wanted to share a follow-up on my condition with Bell's palsy. I suffered a little over 3 weeks ago. I'm back to 95% normal now. Thanks to all of your kind words and suggestions for the treatment. It truly did help. Have a great holiday season. I hope you guys get some much needed rest. Thank you, Jamie. So yeah, Cog, I just want to make sure this was out there for you, because I know you were given like a lot of advice on the physical therapy. So you've got it, another one back to greatness.
Bro, that right there, that's a tough journey. 95%, but I'm super proud of you. Yeah. That is commitment to change and rehabilitation. And I love this here. So I'm glad that anything I said was able to help in any way. And I'm glad you put in the work yourself and got it done. So that's what's up. 95, baby. We 95. Woo! Got that symmetry right. I like that.
Yes, sir. Congrats on your good health, Jamie. And keep on trucking on. And we got one here from Astro Parrot King.
Oh, the homie. Right.
Hi, Dukes of Lore. I wanted to share a personal story. On Thanksgiving, my cousin passed away while sleeping on the Monday before she got into a car accident and did not go to the hospital to seek help. The doctors found out that she had died because of serious internal injuries and internal bleeding that could have been rectified or at least treated. To everyone, please do not tough out injuries or accidents. Make sure you go get help. I want everyone to live to see another day. # health is wealth. Unfortunately, there was no baked mac and cheese at Thanksgiving type of day. Astro, first of all, I'm incredibly sorry for your loss. I mean, it's never easy, right, to go through something like that with a family member, especially when it's on a day where everyone's supposed to gather together. But we appreciate you sharing the story, because that's one thing that we really beat the drum on here, is that check your ego. I think Jamie was someone who had originally written in about with the Bell's palsy, like I was going to ignore it, tough it out. I pride myself on that, but got the help. Now back to 95%. You hear this story, unfortunately, about Astro Parrot King's cousin, and it's just, again, a major takeaway just to look after yourself. You don't have to get paranoid, become a hypochondriac. I was a hypochondriac for like 5 years of my life. It's not really a good way to live your life, but you pay attention to yourself, listen to your body, and don't ignore damage like that. But I'm very sorry for your loss, Astro.
Yeah, Astro, man. First of all, shout out to Astro. This is the homie. This is, obviously I was fortunate to get a chance to meet Astro in the flesh in a Mets game, him and Sean Mason and the crew. And they bring so much joy to the realm of the Dukes. The what was it? The memes that comes out, between the lines, this is what happened on the show and stuff like that. But again, my condolences, to the family, and a great message out of a tragedy, like you said, which is really paying attention to the signs. Anything that's going on after something major, just get yourself checked out. It's always good to get the information. So, and good foresight of you to be able to encourage others to do the same during your difficult time. Because right now, you should. I know you're going through it, and the family's going through it. So our condolences to you and the entire family, brother.
Absolutely. Let's talk with Sean Santarud next. Hey, Dukes, wanted to write in and thank you guys for the rather excellent Lies of P spoiler cast. Only got around to finally completing the game last week and then checked out the spoiler cast. I was very impressed by the game. It made my top 5 games of the year. The extra ending scene has me really excited for what's to come next. So just a reminder, everyone, that we have the spoiler cast up on patreon.com/laststandmedia, but also that is the game of the year that you didn't know existed.
Ooh.
It's time. It's time to check it out.
Flags.
Now, if you want to go even further back to the past, you can do what Sean Mason did. He writes in saying, after enduring years of, I love the term, enduring years of Matty's enthusiastic praise for KOTOR, I eventually succumbed to the allure of this cherished game. I can't believe I procrastinated playing it for so long. 11 hours in, and I'm astounded by the profound impact of the choices and consequences woven into the game's narrative. It was undeniably ahead of its time, While the combat may feel a bit outdated, the overarching storyline and extensive customization options more than compensate for it. I truly hope the remake can be salvaged and released in a state that lives up to this classic. A heartfelt thanks to Matty and those in the LSM Discord for persuading me to finally give it a go. Best, Sean M. Sean has been a patron of mine for at least half a decade.
Wow.
I am stunned. I'm always shocked when like a long-term viewer of mine has not played KOTOR. Like I am always surprised. And Sean of all people, man, like we've talked with Sean. I've waxed poetic about KOTOR. The way he's nodded along, I'm like, oh, he gets it. Like he totally gets it. Sean, the fact that you haven't played until now, you dog, man, you dog. But I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. And I please write in once your journey concludes. I'm curious what you think and who your favorite characters are. It's such a special game to me. So I can't wait to hear more of your thoughts, Sean. So please write in once it's all done. But I'm glad you're enjoying it thus far, despite the somewhat ancient content. Also, on top of your favorite character, I want to know your favorite planet. Got to know that.
Nice.
Says a lot about a person.
It's all about the journey. It's not when you get there. It's just you got there.
Yeah. All about the destination, baby.
Sure likes debate.
Last one, and then we'll get into the news. Midnight writes in, hey, Duke, short correction from last week. Cog, I don't remember this, but I wanted to put it in here just to make sure in case the record wasn't clear. Cog said that Metaphor ReFantazio was coming to Game Pass day one. It is not. At least that's not what we know of the trailer, which did not have a Game Pass logo on it, whereas other games did have that logo. So I would assume that this one will be a purchase rather than Game Pass day one. Keep up the great work. Otherwise, which, yes, it's not a day one Game Pass game. You're correct, Midnight. But yeah, I don't remember you saying that, Cog, but I saw it once in the comment section last week, and I saw the right, and I was like, all right, let's just make sure.
No, he's absolutely correct. Midnight, salute to that. Definitely not day one Game Pass. It was my excitement that an Atlas new IP was coming day and date was the issue, but it wasn't Game Pass. So you are correct, sir. Thank you for that.
Excellent. Now let's get into the news. We have a pretty exciting week here for Xbox. We're going to talk a lot about the Game Awards this show, as it's not going to have anything to do with nominations or announcements or really it is going to have to do with announcements, but not nominations. And so let's start things off with a report from Jez Corden of Windows Central Gaming, where he says that the next Call of Duty in 2024 is going to be developed by Treyarch. It will be another entry in the Black Ops series set during the Gulf War in the early 90s. The game will lean into the more traditional military combat technology and familiar Black Ops gadgetry rather than on the near future technology seen in Modern Warfare. This story will focus on the end of the Cold War era and explore the consequences of it. As of now, Windows Central is unable to confirm if Black Ops Gulf War will be returning to round-based zombies and old maps returning as well, which Insider Gaming previously had reported. Activision is said to be discussing a pre-order bonus that gives players a much larger early access window. It is suggested that players would get several days with the base game and maybe even weeks for access to other modes. Warzone will get some Black Ops-focused content next year as well. So it's kind of a down year for Call of Duty. We actually can pull up some stat. I feel like we'll just do this all in one fell swoop here. Sledgehammer continues to battle back the allegations that Modern Warfare 3 is a failure. This time, it arrives in the form of Thanksgiving stats that they posted on social media saying, y'all grinded more than a full plate on Thanksgiving holiday. MW3 players racked up more hours per player for a new premium Call of Duty release during the holiday weekend since 2019. Now let's beat it. Shipment gets added to the playlist this Thursday. So we just want to collect all of that Call of Duty news, put it in one here. But like I was saying, right now it's considered a down year, although some of the stats for player counts are suggesting that MW3 on a multiplayer front is doing extremely well. Cog, is the sounds of a Black Ops focused game in 2024 piquing your curiosity a little bit here?
Yes, actually it is, because Black Ops is the one that I connected with the most towards my tail end of my COD career. So obviously it was initially Vincent Pella and the boys. The original Infinity Ward was who my guys were. Then they left. But Black Ops, I believe pick 10 system and the zombies introduction and all that. I mean, not introduction, but like kind of their take on it and the way the way they executed it was really well. There's something even about the box art, like that black with the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it, gold, kind of orangey kind of color scheme. I'm more of a Black Ops guy. I've actually become that. So hopefully this is the one that may not grace the service, or at least at minimum have, Xbox marketing. Yeah, we had to check it out, see what's going on over there. I like what Treyarch be doing for the most part. So yeah, I'm excited about this. It's interesting to see that Warzone will get that theme accompanied with it, and yeah, but it's just a matter of now the Game Pass situation. That's all COG really cares about right now.
Yeah, when it comes to Treyarch, I'm always interested in what they're doing for Call of Duty. I typically make time for their releases, so I plan to be around this one, especially because the Black Ops story and the way it explores some of the themes of like the Cold War has always kind of been fascinating to me, because a lot of it's behind the scenes stuff going on, right? Rather than like big epic warfare. So I'm very keen to see how they do this. Also, I can't speak too much to the return to round-based zombies, only because I haven't played MW3 zombies yet, but that's what I've always liked. I've never thought that they should have gotten away from it in the first place. So that sounds like music to my ears. And then, yeah, there's rumors from Insider Gaming already that they're going to be remastering more old maps. I imagine this is just being done at this point now to optimize the development cycle. Like something already exists. You don't have to design new maps. They're there, bring them back. People love nostalgia in the Call of Duty community. Probably saves them a little bit of time in development. So I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled the trigger on that. But otherwise, that's what's going on with Call of Duty right now. And I do want to say this pre-order window, slippery slope here, right? Because we're talking from several days to weeks across modes. That is a big gap, right? Like, what do you do? How do you think this happens? Like, okay, you get the campaign like a week before the game comes out, but you can play Team Deathmatch 2 weeks before the game's coming out. You can play Zombies like 5 days before the game comes out. Like, I'm feeling this is going to be if they go through with this, like a heavily tiered release. It almost doesn't sound feasible. How do they split it up in your eyes? Is it going to be the modes like multiplayer, zombies, single player, or is it going to be like modes within modes?
I would hope it's not that many layers, right? I would hope at the base it's the 3, right? Which is campaign, and then multiplayer, and then I guess they're still considering Warzone its separate, entity. So I'm assuming in that fashion. Trying to think. This year it was campaign first, right? So yeah. I think that they probably, if I had to guess, they would roll, campaign out first, get that out the way, try to get as much engagement as possible, act like that's a separate entity, get people in there. Because I think we all know it's probably to their benefit that they separate campaign, because the majority still play multiplayer first and they want to try to create that engagement. But as far as this like levels of access and weeks before, that's a little slippery, little interested. Weeks, damn. All right,
yeah, weeks. We'll see how that goes. That's like I could tolerate. I'm not crazy about like what Starfield did, or like it comes out 5 days early if you're pre-order. I'm like, okay, it's ready 5 days early. Just release it 5 days early. But I get it, you're trying to make money because it's coming out on Game Pass, et cetera, et cetera. But like now we're talking weeks. That's what I'm talking about. It's a slippery slope. We were up here at like I think Sega started doing 3 days. Then we had 3 days with Hogwarts Legacy, and then we went to 5, and then now we're talking weeks. So yeah, it's only getting crazier from here, y'all.
They starting.
We got a first look at the Fallout TV show officially, might I add, which was released by Vanity Fair. We also got some narrative details here. Very excited about what I saw here. A lot of the designs reminiscent of Fallout 4, from the vault suit to the very bulky, awful looking assault rifle in the game, which people have actually dedicated full on video critiques of. And so I'm very surprised Bethesda went with that design, but they did. The power armor looks like it's straight out of Fallout 4. So that was like their major artistic touchstone when making the show. It's going to have 3 main characters. You're going to have Lucy, who's a vault dweller, who's very innocent and naive. You're going to have, I think Moxon was his name, or Maximus, something along those lines, who's going to be a Brotherhood of Steel squire. And then you have the Ghoul, who's this like almost mythological bounty hunter. And all 3 of them combine in this interesting way where it sounds like the Ghoul is going to be the show's main antagonist. And then he's also the connection to the pre-war. And then you have Lucy, who's very naive and clearly is going to learn something about the horrible vault experiments that went on. And then you have the Brotherhood of Steel squire, which much like the Brotherhood of Steel is like very morally gray. Like they can be the good guys. They also can very much be appearing as the bad guys because they're overly controlling. And so it looks like, from what I've read, they got a lot of a really good feel of things. Now they're taking some liberties in the sense of like they're going to give the Vault Boy an origin story.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll keep an open mind. That's hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like, I think Todd said something along the lines of like, they came up with something and it was just great. And I don't know if that means he's going to get his own episode, but like, there is going to now be, and they're calling it canon. This is going to be a solidified Vault Boy backstory. And so that's where they're taking liberties. And so naturally when it's canon and you got a TV show taking these liberties, there's a little bit of fear about what's to come afterwards. And I say that because this TV show is taking place 9 years after Fallout 4. So it is in the realm of that timeline. And that means that the game that comes after this show has to respect what the show does.
Yes.
But Todd also had mentioned that there are things in this show that he was almost envious of. He's like, why didn't we think of that? So that's what I'm most interested in seeing, because this is, at the end of the day, pass or fail, this is what I've asked for, in the sense that I want to see other creators explore what Fallout is, because you're going to get new ideas of what Fallout can be. We've seen that with the modding community. Like, there's this really big new mod coming out called Fallout London. And originally the belief was like, you can't do Fallout outside the United States. But that mod makes a really good argument for like, no, you can go beyond the States and like capture something totally different. And it's awesome. And so I'm very excited to see what they do here with the Fallout TV show. Again, there are some like light concerns. Like, they showed this scrap downtown called Philly that's in Los Angeles. And people were worried it wasn't, trying to remember the name. I think it's Boneyard from like the first Fallout game and the second Fallout game. So some people are worried like they're kind of ignoring stuff from the games. So I'd be interested to see what they do and don't explore in the first season of the show. But again, it's coming out April 12th. And I think from the set design to the visuals, it looks excellent. Like they have given me a lot of confidence. So I'm feeling pretty good moving into the show. I'm excited to see that first trailer. But Cog, have you had a chance to check out anything happening here with the Fallout TV show?
Yeah, I've been looking at the clips and the stills. I've been trying not to get deep in the weeds, because it's one of those things, it looks so good and it looks like they're paying attention, that I don't want too much spoilers. There's a part of me that's like, all right, y'all look like y'all got it. Like, I'm really in, because I saw the Walter Goggins kind of thing going on, the ghoul with the nose. I'm like, oh, your ghoul look is fine. Great. Humans, the suit looks good. Great. Once I see Brotherhood of Steel, they coming through like Terminators. Now I'm like, oh, like y'all look like y'all got the budget. And more importantly, y'all respecting the lore. It seems like there is an engage. That's just a little problem I had with the Halo situation. Where,
a lot of people were saying like, yo, Halo looked good too. And I'm like, there were people picking out of the trailers immediately that Halo had like a Humvee in the background and whatnot. Like there were immediately inconsistencies. But with this show so far, at least, there has yet to be.
Yeah. And I think, look, with a show, there's going to be adaptation. There's going to be certain liberties that they are going to take, right? That is going to be slightly different. But as long as you get the core essence, you respect the majority of the lore. And I like what you said, that Todd was interacting. Hey, I didn't even know we should have thought about. Now, of course, there's always going to be one or two things that is not going to be pure. People are going to catch it, and we got to see how that is going to be received. Yeah. But for the most part, I'm feeling really, really good about what I'm seeing. So yeah, I'm hyped, man. Like, I don't need to get too much more deeper now. Now it's like, all right, when you coming out? Amazon Prime? What's the platform? What's the subscription service? Let me know. I will be there, because this looks like y'all respected it real well. So that's where I'm at.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's, for you, I'm like, you gotta be going crazy. This is your game.
I'm very pleased. Yeah. I almost can't believe it. That you know what it's gonna hit me is when I sit down to watch the first episode. When I sit down to watch that episode, that's when it's gonna hit me of like, oh my god, something like brand new in Fallout's happening right now.
You think we gonna get that Einanzer theme?
Yeah, we haven't heard it. That's a good point. We haven't heard anything about the music at all.
Oh, that's iconic. I wonder if it's a, because contractually he can't do anything. Because it would be because Halo. I'm trying to think. Halo TV show. Did they have the Gregorian chants? They had the.
I didn't watch.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did the ultimate with Attic on that.
Attic handled the whole thing, man. You guys took the fall for that, not me.
I forgot. Run with the Dukes. Y'all gotta help me, man. I can't remember now if the Halo had any. I don't think It may have. It was so not memorable. I mean, I didn't remember. Maybe there was some, but I got to go back to it. But it'll be interesting because obviously Fallout is known for that. Like, woo! That's a good one. That's a good one. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Killer Instinct got an update this week. The base game is now free to play for all platforms with one free fighter rotating weekly. The anniversary edition for Killer Instinct was also announced and includes all 29 fighters alongside all premium content ever released. Killer Instinct Definitive Edition owners will receive this upgrade for free, but this also means that the Definitive Edition will be retired from storefronts and replaced by the Anniversary Edition. Switch Mitch Skates writes in, Dukes, Killer Instinct's Anniversary Edition balance patch was shadow dropped today on Game Pass. Would you encourage the Duke community to hop onto this game to show Microsoft there's a hunger for more Killer Instinct, potentially a Game Pass pick of the week? Thanks, and have a killer day. I just want to throw this up here in the front. Like, when Xbox One and PS4 were getting ready to come out, I chose Xbox One for the same reason that you and I had discussed in the past, Cog, which is I think PlayStation 4 absolutely had the mind share. They had the right choices with used games and all that stuff. I just went with Xbox because I said, look, y'all are making great promises, but like I'm looking day and date at what I'm going to play on my system. And I thought Xbox One was literally stacked. I thought from Rise to Dead Rising to Killer Instinct and so on, like they had so much to play. Yeah. And that's why I was on my Xbox One a ton at launch. And I feel like with PS4, it didn't really take off for me, at least until probably infamous Second Son. Like I got my PS4 for Christmas and I remember I fired up Contrast and like that was for a little bit. Yeah, like that was it for a little bit.
That's old Compulsion.
That was old Compulsion.
Old Compulsion. Yeah, it was Contrast. That game's great. It's great. Yeah, Resogun.
Resogun was a good one. I got put on that because of Colin. That was a Colin game.
Killzone Shadow something.
Shadowfall. Wasn't crazy about that. I like Killzone, but not that one. Yeah.
I agree. Graphically, it looked good. It was more of a like, okay, here's power.
It was their rise, right? It was clearly a visual showpiece.
A visual showcase. But I'm with you, man. Like, not to interrupt, but like,
oh, you're good.
Yeah, like I was a little disappointed at the PS4 at launch. I was like, okay, I see the vision. I know the used games. I know the power. I know what it's going to be. And I'm away. But for me, it's like Infamous. And then it was, I think, Uncharted. Then everything started to roll a bit.
No, they started to snowball. It was just a little slow up front. So I went with the Xbox One. Same. But I always tell people, they're like, what's your favorite game for Xbox One when it first came out? I was like, Killer Instinct. I played so much Killer Instinct. I could not believe that game was, I think also free to play at the time. But then you could pay $20 and just get access to everything. And I did without a hesitation. I was so thoroughly hooked by this game. I loved how it felt. And the characters are great. Obviously now with the premium content added in, for those who haven't checked it out, like you get to play as Arbiter in this game, right?
Yes.
You get to play as the Battletoads in this game. Yes. They've added a story. They did a ton of arcade updates. Like they've added so much to this game where even if you gave it a little bit of a look during the Xbox One era, chances are they have changed so much since then. And so you definitely owe it to yourself, especially if you like fighting games. Do not sleep on Killer Instinct. And I got to give the team some credit here because not really just a random update, but like there were moments where this game, we covered it on Defining Duke, like the matchmaking broke. There were problems with the game technically, and the game had been like finished with its support, but they came back and immediately got on things, fixed it up. Now they're back. They've done an anniversary edition update. So I do hope people gather around this a little bit just to show like, hey, we're here and we want to play these things, because I know Phil has gone on record in the past of saying, you know, they want to provide more for fighting game fans. And he's gone on record of saying like Killer Instinct is something they need to find the right team for. Why not pick the team that's kind of still supporting the old joint and putting the anniversary edition update out there? I don't know. But nonetheless, I'm just very excited about this. I hope to give it a look during my holiday break. But do not sleep on Killer Instinct if you like fighting games. There's a lot of content here they added over time, and the roster is great. And there's a snappiness to the combos that just, it doesn't play like any other fighting game out there. Like I would say Tekken has heft and weight and juggles, whereas Killer Instinct is like this, just again, like this whippy, snappy, like pop, 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 like very quick, all over the over the controls, sick announcer, give it a look if you have yet to play it. Will you be checking it out, sir?
Yeah. Already got my eyes on it, little hands on it. It was close, Switch bitch. It was close to the Game Pass. I got something else, but it was close to my Game Pass of the week. But look, man, I got to support. At the end of the day, I will admit I am not the biggest KI fan, just on the combat system from a technical standpoint versus other fighting games. But it's a great fighter, and it was an amazing launch game, like close to launch. And I, like you said, like this was part of that Xbox One, system, that software lineup. And I was really impressed. It was that, Dead Rising 3, Rise, eventually Quantum Break, Titanfall was in that window. That opening salvo from Xbox One was pretty strong. After that, we saw the drop off and we know what happened, but that was part of it. But yeah, we got to support this. And for the FGC, COG is all about the fighting game community. We got to support, and they deserve a sequel. They deserve content. Continue. I love to see that it's not dormant and they're doing something. That gives me hope that something may be on the horizon. So keep it up. Love to see this. Iron Galaxy, I believe in the team. Salute.
Halo Infinite, sir. Halo 3 refueled maps are now in the standard matchmaking rotation for Halo Infinite. So for those who missed out, don't worry. They're now officially integrated into the standard matchmaking. So that's an injection of like another 8 maps into the game already. So they're on a roll. They're on an absolute roll right now. 343 is killing it. Shout out to them for the rebound thus far. As we had said, once Forge arrived, it was the beginning of the turnaround. And now with season 5, they've really turned a corner. And so I hope that within the next half year or so, they make a really big statement and bring this game up to even further heights, because there was another story here. Do I have it written down?
I think I know what story you're talking about.
Yeah, I
have an update to that story that I think I know what you're going to go for.
It's a player count, right?
Yeah. I know
hit me with it. Okay, I don't know where it went on my notes here, but I was like, I don't see it anymore. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, at the time, and I'm being petty because everybody knows I'm such a Destiny fan, but I got to give credit. Halo Infinite is rocking. We were doing Defiling Duke, was it top of the year? That thing wasn't smelling the top, 30, 40 or whatever it was. To see this resurgence, and you know how I look, I always tell people, what are people playing on the platform? What's the daily active users? What's really happening on Xbox? And I would always go to people, you guys clown Destiny. I'm like, hey, Destiny's here though, right? It's in the top 10 is this. I saw Halo Infinite at, I believe, number 19. It was like last week, and it passed Destiny. And that is impressive. That I'm not going to minimize that. Now, since then, based on what I've been playing,
just like Destiny did take it
Destiny
back.
just jumped them this week because a new season came out. But it's still a testament to Halo. Halo is right in the mix. Top 20. Everybody's in there fighting. It's good to see. You know what I'm saying? So, and remember, this is seasonal stuff. So imagine if they get that big, push that COG was. Like, this is good, man. So salute to Halo. Salute to the Halo 3 mask. I gotta talk to Mr. Raygun, see how he's feeling about that. Because that's his favorite Halo as far as the maps and that, 3 in general. And to see that infusion as part of that's free content, man. Like that's dope to see, man. Salute to the Halo Infinite community, man. This is really cool. Keep it pushing.
Absolutely. I don't want to get too off track here, but just whenever I look at this list, it's always interesting to see for Xbox most played games what it is ranking. And
see what's going on out here.
I just, what it is that Forza Motorsport is way further down the list. And I may have just overestimated like what that game was going to do, but I am surprised at how low that player count is. I thought that was going to be a pretty dominant release for them. Like Forza Horizon 5 may have just misguided me, because Forza Horizon 5 is still in the top 15.
Bro, and they just dropped new content. They just dropped a new pack or something this week, I believe. Yeah. So they shot back up. But yeah, it is
Skyrim
surprising.
has more players right now than Forza on Xbox.
Which one?
Skyrim Special Edition has more players than Forza Motorsport. Yeah.
That's crazy. And the vibe, because shout out to my man Ebontis, he's a hardcore motorsport guy. And I was like, what's the vibe? And he's like, it was just a little too light at the beginning. That's what the hardcore eventually started to say. They wanted more. And they said they're adding, they're fixing, they're adding. But that was the only thing. But yeah, I try to tell people, I'm a Horizon guy. If they can get a guy like me into it, it's the casual racer and the kind of thing. But I'm glad motorsport exists. Don't get me wrong. But good call out on engagement. I see Starfield still.
Starfield's still in the top 10.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. Single player game that's not live service. interesting.
It's hemorrhaging players, Cog.
It's hemorrhaging. I know these single player games. How in the hell are they not still up for 3 months? It's about to be
December, and you're telling me it's dropping below 20K? What a fucking joke!
Yeah, we got to talk to the guys. That's just terrible.
We'll talk about Starfield later on in the episode. We'll brave that conversation because they're in the news cycle for a reason. Bethesda probably doesn't want to. Yeah, they probably don't want to be there for that, but we cannot ignore it.
Fair is fair.
Undead Labs, we'll talk about them first, though, has been arguably the most silent of any within the first-party family since they revealed State of Decay 3 in 2020. We possibly have a small update on the studio, according to Daniel Floyd's LinkedIn, who worked at Undead Labs full-time as a senior narrative animator for 9 years up until February of 2023. It mentions in his work experience that he was working on animation for a variety of projects, including Moonrise, State of Decay 2, and other not yet released projects with an S. So a lot of the Xbox community reading into the idea that Undead Labs may be working on something else. What do you think's going on over there? Because we had that expose from Kotaku. I had reached out to Undead Labs to ask them if they wanted to speak on our show about what had happened and if it was true or not, because it was like one of those stories where like no one was really corroborating. It was just getting people talking. And it was during that era, but also was coming from Kotaku, but like it was during that era of like every Xbox studio was getting blown up in the press. Like all of a sudden Bethesda Game Studios had one on Fallout 76. Like some people were receiving it more as an attack than explaining what's happening here. So I invited them on and they said that they'll talk at a later date about things. And naturally that was probably a year and a half ago now. So they've just been really quiet on things here. And I'm wondering if you think there are multiple projects here, because if we were to lean into that report even slightly, they mentioned that they were almost like 343 style factions, like diversifying points of view of what State of Decay 3 should have been. And maybe that led to a whole other project on top of State of Decay 3. But what do you make of potentially multiple games under development at Undead Labs, just because they continue to also support State of Decay 2 that has not slowed down at all?
It's still going, right? And that was, I guess for me, it raised an eyebrow, because I was like, okay, if you're going to continue to support State of Decay 2, which I feel is way past the life cycle, then I felt, okay, you're biding more time for what's going on. We got to be real. Like, I got to be fair. I, for the most part, I don't fall into the doom and gloom kind of thing all the time with the studios, but there are a couple that I do have my what's going on with you fam energy, right? What's going on? We haven't heard from you. And look, I got to be honest, Undead Labs is one of them for me, because one, I love them dearly. I followed them a lot, and I was tightly connected to what was going on in that studio. And most of the people from the top were gone. You know what I'm saying? Strain, I believe Rich Fogey, another art director. There was a lot of people at the top. So they've gone a massive shift. And let's be honest, they had a little bit of the controversy with the sexism and some other thing happened. Yeah. So then we had that. And then we're like, okay, what's going on? What's going on with delay? To me, like, listen, 343 get the smoke for what happened at Halo Infinite in the beginning. We get it. We see the turnaround. But this studio, I'm very concerned, because to me, I was just like, this is a slam dunk from a foundational level. Like, we all felt State of Decay foundationally is strong. You just need to glow up. You need to glow up, no tether thing kind of going on, and just expand on it. So when we heard Unreal Engine 5, we like, yes, okay, let's go. That's a great sign. We saw the trailer, we like, oh, that looks good. We don't know if that's going to look like the game though, but that look good. It looked good. Whatever that little concept vertical slice thing that you did with old girl, cool. But you're going for graphical fidelity. Great. Now, I will say this. I got to give this credit. I'm not going to say that this definitely means for sure multiple projects, but if just one comes from them, hashtag just one, if it comes, look, that'll be good, because to me,
are you saying just one game or just one new game?
Just one new game.
Okay, got it.
I'm not even putting the pressure on them for hashtag just one. I'm just saying, y'all been working a long time. So, not saying State of Decay doesn't deserve that level of time, but if these rumors are to be believed, that would make sense now that you're because there's other things you're working on. And that, if it's true, that's encouraging. I would love to see something else besides State of Decay 2. I want State of Decay 3, but something else in addition, now you got my attention. Now it makes sense. So working with Coalition, you're working with Unreal Engine, you got the tools. I just hope they knock it out. I'm pulling for them. This is the studio. I'll be honest, Matty. This is the studio I'm the most worried about, only because I love them so much and I just want them to succeed. I know people probably rank Initiative higher and say, no, I'm worried about them. What are they doing? That's the new studio. I get it. That's fair. But for me, it's Undead Labs. I need to know what's going on. We haven't seen you or heard from you in a while. So grain of salt for right now, but this does make sense if true that there's other things going on. But I'm curious what you think. What do you want from them? How are you feeling?
I think in the terms of feeling, I don't know if I'm at the stage of worried yet. I'd rather they just stay quiet and keep toiling away. Whereas the Initiative, that is a little more worrying because that was like a Game Awards slot. That was a big deal. Xbox opening up the studio, the exodus of talent, like that would filter to me as more concerning. Now you sort of got it's pretty much a Crystal Dynamics game, right? Like that's the understanding, and it's led up by the former head of Crystal Dynamics. So I think that game has a better chance, even though I'm more worried about the status of that studio and what that team dynamic is like. I think that game probably has a better chance of coming out pretty good just because of that chemistry, right? So it's like a two-pronged question. It's like I would say in terms of what the team could have been, it's a little worrying, but the game itself, I'm sure, will turn out pretty good. Whereas with State of Decay, I have no reason to be discouraged by what they've done because State of Decay 2 shows that like they just don't give up. They don't. This State of Decay 3, I'm not excusing it, but like State of Decay 3 could suck, and they'll just keep going. They'll just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. So I feel like just the way they make their games, I just hope they don't fall prey to let's release this in a good enough state and then fix it later. I want their best swing first, and that would be, if I had any type of worry, it'd be that. But in terms of multiple projects, like where are you at? I'd like that because when you think about it, they had their first big boom on the Xbox Arcade, the Summer Arcade with State of Decay 1. Amazing memories with that game. And then you had State of Decay 2, you have State of Decay 3. Like, they've just done a lot of zombie games, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if they finally picked a direction to go with State of Decay and went, man, it's been almost a decade of just zombies. Right? We kind of want to do something else, right? Yeah. And one thing Xbox has always said is like, we want our teams to be creatively energized. We want our teams to do what they want to do because that's how we get the best work out of them. And a lot of people think burnout comes from just like overwork, but it can come from even steady, regulated work on just the same thing.
Facts.
So that's why you've got companies like, I'll use Bethesda Game Studios as an example. The reason they ping pong between Fallout and Elder Scrolls and now Starfield is because it prevents a level of burnout, right? So it's not a one-trick thing. It's not going to solve every problem, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if they fired up a new, smaller project, maybe like a Pentiment scale project, just to kind of grease the wheels on something else, right?
All right, Matty, all right. No, you're right, though. You're right. I mean, time and time again, developers have said the same exact thing you said. It's a creative juices thing. It's a burnout. It's the monotony. And again, gamers, we tend to be selfish. We want what we want, but we have to respect the creators. And the creators, they need that. They need that kind of change of pace. I'm pulling for them, man, at the lab. Like I want them to make a State of Decay 3, but also let's see what else you could do, right? Yeah. And even if it's a smaller project, we'll see. You know, I'll be honest, this is my only little pet peeve, and this is just me being bougie and out of control.
Let's hear it.
COG's biggest pet peeve, Xbox Game Studios, because I know y'all listen. Here's my thing with y'all, and this might not even be y'all fault. I know in order to get in the door, a lot of y'all had projects on the side that really inspired you, right? I just wish your project had 3 A's on it. That's all. And it called me bougie. I just wish that your little side joint was like some, real bombastic, but you just never, could get it through the door. Let's get more of those for the first one. Right? That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of y'all getting those first ones out the way now that y'all signed the contract. And now COG like, okay, we get it. looking at you. What's my the ninja thing? I love y'all. What was the first one? What was the first one? Dead something. What was the name of
Are you
that
talking
joint?
about Bleeding Edge?
Bleeding Edge.
Oh,
all right, cool. Josh Sawyer. We had you in the realm of the Dukes. Love you. You should have got nominated. Pentiment was 10. Great game. But you know what? My initial emotionality was, Josh Sawyer, dude, game. Woo! Oh, it's missing a couple A. Okay. Minus 2A. Not taking nothing away from the quality of the game, but I'm just saying, like, I just want y'all to get those out. Now let's get to, boombasticness.
Yeah, I hear you. As my game tastes evolve, I like that we have a big budget publisher in Xbox who's letting these artsy fartsy games be first party titles.
You're right.
Because here's the thing. I think PlayStation currently is a little bit of a telling story in that, like, Concrete Genie, right? Like, that's a really cool game. And it kind of just came and went. PlayStation helped bury that game by, like, announcing the controller the same day it was coming out for PS5. But, I think about those little projects, and, like, I think they're so important to the overall ecosystem, because if the creators are tired and they're not doing what they want, you're just going to get, when you get to the big thing, a very less inspired. I'm not even lecturing you. I'm just saying in general, like, I just feel like you get worse from them after all that. So it's like, it's not even worth it if you get, like, big game after big game. And I imagine for them, it's probably less of the creativity and more of the, the pace at which the game is made. If you think and act smaller and build smaller instead of 5, 6, 7 long years, it's like, okay, like, this took 3. Not bad,
For that.
So
you need that for studio health. Absolutely, that's the correct way to move. Pay me no mind with my ridiculousness.
Your games, they speak to the soul a little bit.
Yes. I just want more A's.
So
why you mixing it up?
I think next year we'll have a lot of A's for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Baldur's Gate 3 is getting patch 5 this week, and Larian has confirmed that will be included on the Xbox disc, which is really good news because obviously they have, like, a lead in to all of that where, they eventually have to commit and say, like, this is what we're putting on the disc and shipping it out. And I say this because I'll talk about Baldur's Gate 3 in a little bit, but I've been playing it, and their latest patch introduced a new bug where what was happening was, like, I tried to steal something from someone, and they started searching for me because they noticed something was missing, which is a cool part of the game. Mm-hmm. So they track you down. They're like, hey, missing a key. Happen to know where it is. So you skill check and you get by. And usually, like, that's it. Mm-hmm. They have no idea. Then they immediately come back and they're like, yo, where's the key? And I'm like, wait, what? So that is a bug that keeps happening. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that patch 4 introduced a number of bugs, like, quest progression and interaction with some objects, like, just what wasn't working. So I'm looking forward to patch 5 to say the least. But it is going to be included in the Xbox disc. So if you're buying that deluxe edition for BG3, you're supporting the physical media, know that the latest update will be on disc, which is very exciting.
No doubt.
Annapurna has acquired 24-Bit Games. This team is behind both porting and co-developing projects like Maquette, Neon White, and even the recently released Cocoon, which is now on Xbox Game Pass. So, little acquisition here. This is a long-term partner of Annapurna. They're a South African studio. So congrats to them. Any thoughts on this large acquisition?
Yeah, I like Annapurna. They generally always kind of meet with them at the PAX. They always like going around their booth and seeing the games that they've got to showcase, kind of thing. And Cocoon is part of them. Maybe talk about that later. But this is cool. This is cool. Especially, I feel like they got a good eye for the most part.
Yeah. Next up here, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2. Capcom has officially raised its prices as Dragon's Dogma 2 will be coming out at $70 when it releases March 22nd, 2024. So this was, they had just said a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, that, they can't keep their prices the same forever. I didn't even realize that Resident Evil 4 Remake was a $60 game, but that's pretty crazy to me. But kudos to them for holding on for so long. They're also for the UK doing a currency balancing, so like the price jump won't be as dramatic for those who are over the seas from us. But yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 had a big showcase, about 15, I shouldn't say big, it was 15 minutes long, but big for them because normally they barely show anything for this game. They confirmed the leaked release date of March 22nd, 2024, and showed off new monsters. They showed off some of the story. They showed off a character creator, some of the additions of the game. And dude, this game looks so good.
How are you feeling? This is your baby. How you feeling?
I am feeling really good. This game is like a beautiful hybrid of so many great fantasy games. Like I've always said to people, I don't think I've learned this as I've gotten older. I was like, I don't think I'm a really big fantasy fan. There are just particular series that I either have nostalgia for or scratch the right itch. Like Elder Scrolls scratches the right itch. My type of fantasy I enjoy is like fantasy in attire, fantasy in setting. But when people are talking, it's like you and I talking. Like they're humans. They're not like, oh, nay, like just that kind of poetic Shakespearean
pontification stuff.
Yeah, not crazy about that. So, and I get why people do like that. That's just never clicked with me. Fable being another, right? The particular humor style and the choice focus, that connects with me more. But it's more gameplay elements, writing elements than the actual world itself. And also seeing that world evolve by Fable 3. Dragon's Dogma is this hybrid of like a Souls game, an Elder Scrolls game, a Monster Hunter game, Shadow of the Colossus, all in one. And I mean, you even see in this trailer, this showcase, there's a point, there's this massive monster that's just walking through and barrels through a bridge, changing the world. And I'm like, yo, they have went from, a griffin can fly in and attack you, which back then in 2012, when this game first came out, was awesome, right? It was happening in this open world. It gave the world a sense of danger. Now this is happening. I mean, I know we already have the abundance of confidence in Capcom that they've undoubtedly earned, but dude, this game looks incredible. Easily my most anticipated game for next year. I cannot wait. And Dragon's Dogma, to me, it always felt like this kind of secret game. Like no one really recognized on a broad level how good it is. It's not for everybody. It's a little janky. And it definitely has its slow moments, especially in the early going as you get to Grand Seren. But as things turn up with the vocations and the classes and the gameplay, it's incredible. And that sense of danger that permeates throughout your experience, like as you're like in Elder Scrolls, right? You'll wander down the road and you'll make a right into the woods and there's no fear. Like you're the Dovahkiin, right? You're going to wipe them out. But in Dragon's Dogma, it's like when you go in those woods, there may be a goblin camp and they will be waiting and ambush the hell out of you and ruin your day. And it's incredible because you don't just hack and slash your way through. Like you got to really get strategic where the game has that Monster Hunter feel of like, you can't just hack and slash. You kind of like 1, 2, 3, like, and every weapon in class has a distinct feel and approach to battle. And so you want to make good team compositions. That's where the pawn system kicks in, as I've waxed poetic about in the show in the past. So I'll spare everyone, but just, Dragon's Dogma looks fantastic. So I pay $80. I'll pay $90. I don't care.
$80.
I don't care. You name your price, I will be there. But yeah, they just the ability to. Yeah, I'm rewatching. I forgot about this. You can literally grab onto flying creatures and just get on top of other bosses. I mean, this game is going to be incredible. I have no doubt in my mind at all about it. What have you had a chance to check it out? What are your thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2?
Bruh, I looked at it. I'm gonna be real with you. You've been waxing poetic for a minute. But it's not until I am seeing that new trailer from that showcase and that giant golem kind of thing where you scale the boss and you're cutting the eye, you're cutting, like, bro, this seems so bombastic. Like, and
where did the show for you?
Well, it's on official Capcom Europe. I'll send you the link.
No. I'm saying though, that's the word of the show for you. Bombastic.
Bombastic. Oh yeah, that's the word. That's the word. It's bombastic. Everything's bombastic this week. So yeah, like this seems epic. This engine, bro. What is this engine they using?
It's amazing. RE engine.
This is RE.
Yeah,
bro. Capcom's outside. This is up. It is also. I know you ain't gonna like this comparison. Oh, first of all, shout out to the representation. y'all got the brothers looking right. Y'all got the brothers
nice.
With the y'all did y'all homework in y'all Game of Thrones, and your brothers are in here, and we looking good. So
there we go.
Representation. the black delegation, we are very happy, Capcom. With what you saw, what I saw, I said, oh yes, let's go. But all jokes aside, the game itself looks phenomenal. You're
Yes,
giving
sir.
me very lordly, very, dookie vibes. I'm liking that. But it's a looker. In the comparison I was going to say that you might not like, even though I know how you feel about Final Fantasy 16, that it's not classic JRPG. You can't front. It's a looker though, right? For the most part. This not like it's on that level of looker with a little Elder Scrolls vibe and a little like this. You got my full attention now. I was like, oh, all right, I might check out this Matty joint. Let me see. Now I was like, oh no, this look like you going for the title. Like you trying to make a statement for 2024 that we outside and we might have to look at that that game of the year situation if y'all keep this up. So
I'm just happy they're making it, man. Like I said last week, there's only really like 2 Capcom series I want to see modern Capcom take on. It was this one and Mega Man X in particular. And I'm very thrilled that they're investing a lot in it, but also that with this new era of success that Capcom has been met with, that like Dragon's Dogma 2 still looks very much like this kind of rickety sort of thing that will take someone have to like really put some time into to get good at it. Like the menu navigation looks a lot similar to what we've seen in the first one. And so I'm very, very excited about this. I don't mean to drag it on too long, but I cannot wait for Dragon's Dogma 2.
I just had to give praises to that showcase. I'm still looking at it now. This is amazing looking stuff. And they still maintain, a quick question before we move on, they're still maintaining the cooperative aspect if necessary, because it looks like it still is. Nothing.
There's no multiplayer. It's a single player game.
So it's just single player. But I remember you saying something to the fact that they had a system that if your friend was playing.
Oh, the pawn system?
The pawn system. Sorry, I would use the wrong term.
No, you're good. You're good.
System.
You're good. Is it kind of multiplayer? Like if you're connected online, you can download pawns. Actually, someone pointed this out in the Retro Rebound comment section. I forgot this, that if you're friends, like you and I are friends online and you find my pawn, normally you have to pay like a currency to get them in. But if you and I are friends, even if like it's a super high level, like you can still just get mine for free. Right. So it's kind of that strand game thing that Kojima talked about. But I think this is like, to me, this is like the OG strand game. Like this is the one where everyone was connecting online. We were all going through this journey together. It's a fascinating game. It really is. And so I think a lot of people are going to, I'm glad they're sticking with the original vision, because a lot of people are going to, I think, connect with the ideas here and see how AI can be used in creative, fun ways that do not pollute the overall product.
Fair enough.
Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition, last one here, was listed on the Xbox Store, so this seems like an imminent announcement with the Game Awards coming up. 4K resolution, 60 frames per second with improved graphics, controls, and audio, along with brand new autosave and cross-save features. There's also going to be a new speedrun mode, as well as updated achievements and new rewards for players. I've not played this one before, so I am actually really excited for Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. Still no word on Beyond Good and Evil 2, but at least they're doing something with the franchise here to catch people up like myself. So that will be available, I imagine, pretty soon. Any thoughts on this one?
Not too much to add. Pretty much same as you with that one.
Okay. Well, with that, we're done with the news for a little bit. Let's talk about what games are playing, sir. Live service. How we doing over there?
Yeah, live service COG, man. I needed a palate cleanse, bro. Like, you know what it is? I came off of Gaiden and really enjoyed my time for the most part, like a Dragon Gaiden. And then from there, it wasn't over because I've been playing a lot of the Infinite Wealth demo. You know what I'm saying? So I'm playing a ton of it, like Dragon. I had to stop myself because I'm like, all right, and they give you some D's. They give you like a story mode and they give you like this other mode. And I got enough. So I got my fill. But then I'm like, all right, so I'm next going to go into the next game. So I'm like, all right, probably going to do Baldur's, got to do Tactica. Those are like the 2 lead choice. But I was like, okay, Baldur's wait. Let's see what happens. We talked last Duke, with the Game Awards situation, how they announce it and all that. Tactica is up like, yo, bro, Tactica, what's up? I'm here. You said, what's up? But then, I don't know, man. Diablo's been calling me. And I've been sitting there and I've been like, you know what? It's Season of the Vampire. I've heard good things about it. But what pushed me last week is they had a special week. It was called like Lilith's Blessing. And it's like double, triple XP kind of energy.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Y'all going to let me level up? Y'all going to let me eat? All right, let me finally get in here with Season of the Vampire. I got a confession.
Uh-oh.
So as a Diablo player, Team Sorcerer all day, Sorcerer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Sorcerer is so nice.
Ice Blades. I'm like, yeah, man. And I gotta be real, Diablo community. I know this is a staple of the Diablo franchise, and I know you're gonna be like, Cog, you fraud. This is what always happens, and why are you saying this? I hate new season that I gotta create a new character. Hate it. I like my association with my current character. I want to keep using him, but no, Diablo wants you to reset, start from the beginning, choose to skip the campaign with another version of your sorcerer or another new character. Mm-hmm. All right, fine. Have to give Diablo credit. If it wasn't for this system, I'm like, let's try something different. Let me see what this little necromancer is over here. Let me see what's going on with Necro. Bro. Sorcerer, we got to talk. It ain't you, it's me. I'm a necro main now, boy.
Okay. Welcome to the club.
Bro, oh, you a necro? Bro.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Necro, I'm doing there's a lot of builds that, because one thing about Diablo that satiates one thing about me in live service, I'm a build guy. I'm a guy that likes to really fine tune in the minutia and to really get high meta, high DPS, or survivability build. That's what COG is about. I'm like tinkering. So I started to mess around. I started to kind of dive into a bone build. It's all about the bone. It's all about the bone.
Did you catch your pause moment last week? You did? Okay, cool. I'm just wondering because my eyebrows went up. I was like, I wonder if COG, I forgot the name. I wonder if he caught that one.
I tried.
No one wrote really in about it at all.
It was so crazy. I was like, oh, that was wild, but we're going to act like that didn't happen. So, there's a couple of ones. There's ones that King and Addict called me. They're like, bro. I was like, oh, yeah, that was wild.
I'm rubbing off on you, man. I'm rubbing off on you.
You had onions last week?
Yeah. That's the thing. I think I'm the pause magnet at the end of the day, right? Like I had one big pause worthy moment. You had a big one. Facts. Most of the comments were about my creamed onions.
Yes. They called it another name.
Fantastic dish. Dish. Yeah,
I had another name for it though. You know that.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna say that on
my boys had a different name for it, and they got me again this year. I sent them my plate, and they're like, "Bro, great dish, but they don't look right, man."
Fair enough. So back to the bone build. Yeah, like so I'm doing that, and then so basically here's the setup. It's like high level. It's like five, like I would say top 5 from a necro standpoint and from an overall standpoint this season, which is you're doing the bone spear. I have decrepify, which curses the area and then it slows the enemy and then allows them to do less damage to me. I have that. Then I have the what's called the blood mist, where you can say if things are getting hectic, I turn into this little, mist, get away. I leave bodies on the floor, and that's the thing. The corpses are the key. Because what I love, corpse explosion. Or my favorite is corpse tendrils. The minute they're in proximity, I'm getting overwhelmed. Grab them, detain them, they get shook up, and now I'm bone spear. Yeah, you're going to get this work. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we pause it all day on this one. But, yeah.
It took me a second. I didn't even think of that.
I know where you at with it. I know. I already know.
I didn't think of that one. I was just sitting here innocently. I really didn't.
So it's that kind of a Diablo session for God. Nice. So we got that.
Sounds fun.
The last one is the now we got the season of the vampires. So they got, which is really cool, is all of them have all the items you pick up. There's a company story. The vampires running loose. You go in there, you kind of assimilate some of the powers to the vampire lord, and then they have you do a series of checklist of things, kind of thing. But it's actually pretty cool. But what I like is the synergies. They add additional functionality and powers to what you already have. Really cool stuff. Survivability, this blood pool thing. There's stuff that really you can amplify different aspects of your build, and they're extremely powerful. So yeah, Diablo Season 4. I was doing it Season of Vampire. Been rocking that out all last week. And then to continue my live service thing, because again, COG's all about the live service. I've been away so long.
Yes.
So obviously, my beloved Destiny has decided to come back outside. Yeah. Season of the Witch. Season of the Witch was last season. This is Season of the Wish. And I will just say, narratively, they're paying off something that was extremely awesome. That it was kind of like a deep cut for people who played for Forsaken. That there was this wishing well in the raid, and everybody's like, "There's got to be a 15th wish. There's got to be," and no one can find it. So they finally paid that off narratively, and now we're dealing with the final Amankara, which is this mythical dragon. You had to kill it in the raid. It's called Riven. It's back. And this is going to lead us towards the witness. And it's the way they're doing it, lore-wise, very cool. Monetization-wise, I see some stuff.
Starter pack?
Ebonza just hit me today. They got trashed so bad, they just deleted it off the Steam page.
I saw a video on YouTube, literally in my recommended. It said like a message from our game director. It's got the YouTube apology face, like nothing in the thumbnail.
They got my man Blackburn outside and all that. I will say this. They finally acknowledged that the final shape is delays. The Bloomberg thing. Okay. I was surprised. We are getting some additional content between that 7-month gap. So I don't know where they got this loan from of talent or money, but I didn't expect that. So it looks like there's going to be
some of the final shape and kind of giving it to you a little early because they know that gap. Like you look at Halo, right, where that big content gap between seasons 2 and 3 was pretty killer for them.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I mean, they're saying the right things. They're like, look, this is what it is. But basically what they're saying is we know the standard of a Taken King expansion and a Forsaken expansion, right? So we have to meet that. We have to because this is the reason why I'm staying in. And when everybody jumped out, I'm like, look, I've been in this game 10 years. I need to know how this story concludes the correct way. And I like what I'm hearing. So I will say, it was surprising. We've got some good news in that front. The PvP dedication, we've been hearing new maps and all this other stuff. So they're saying the right things. Now just, hey, you've messed up your base. You gotta execute because there's too many things out here. There's too many games out here for people to be messing and worrying about you. But I will say so far, Season of the Wish is decent. And I'm curious to see how they land the plane. But that's pretty much it. It's been live service. There's a couple other things I'm playing that I'll talk about later that I'll get back to my single player, let's knock out backlog stuff. Yeah. But I had my fix satiated the last 2 weeks because Destiny's home and Diablo really last week was really a lot of fun. And I want to give credit to that. What have you been playing?
More Nick All-Star Brawl 2. That has been a ton of fun. I just, every night, it feels like my friends and I are firing this thing up, playing for a couple hours, and just really enjoying the depth of the cast. It's not my favorite roster mascot-wise, but I can't deny that they've put a lot of time and effort into making every character feel different. I've been playing a lot of Donatello lately. And at first I thought like, this man's recovery is so bad. It's just this little dash up in the air. It's so vertical. It gets maybe like 3 inches of air for him. And then he just drops down like a bad habit. And that's it. It's like, okay, well, he's great otherwise, but like, I just can't get back on stage. And now I find out like he's got this teleportation thing. Like you can throw it down and like you could be all the way off the stage and the teleporter could be over here and he'll zip back to that point. And so it kind of, I've been using it as a mind game. Like I'll throw it down and the opponent's like ready, like, okay, which way is he going? Or they anticipate it. And then sometimes I just drift into the stage and I've just been able to play mind games with it, which he's like a complex character to use, but I've been kind of enjoying that. I'm not very good with him, but it's fun, right? And that's what I loved about Smash is like you kind of settle into these grooves for like 5 hours a piece with these characters and just kind of enjoy what they offer as a kit. And so the kits in Nick All-Star Brawl have been really diverse, where I've also been playing a lot of Aang, and he's very fast and floaty. And I mean, he can have 3 jumps or 2 jumps and then like an air recovery, and then you can dive bomb with his air recovery. Like it's just these little wrinkles to all these characters that wasn't there in the first game where I'm like, yeah, man, this is really good. Like I've just been loving hopping on. I even had friends who were like, I was always a defender of the first Nick All-Star Brawl, but all my friends are like trash, mid, like even they are now on this game playing with me. They're like, yo, this is actually really good. So for all Game Mills misses this year in 3 worst game of the year contenders, they do have this diamond in the rough, if you will, in Nick All-Star Brawl 2, which has been very good. Very,
you've
very
been consistent with this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been sticking with it. So it's been a good time. And I imagine it'll get dropped when Tekken comes around. But I mean, hanging with it that long is pretty good stuff.
Yes.
been gaming with the boys a lot. So from one to the other, we go to Payday 2. Tried Payday 3 and COG. I get what you mean. Something's missing here. Just doesn't feel right. And we just moved on quick. Played for an hour and we were just like, no, like the content's not here. The shooting feels better. That was like the best thing about it. The shooting feels better. But it was like, why wouldn't we just go play Payday 2 where we have tons of missions and the progression is way better. Like you get new skins and new weapons and new masks and just everything where just Payday 3 feels so hollow in comparison. And then I looked up the player count of just curiosity when I was sitting there with my friends and bro, it is like a 30,000 player difference, almost 40. Yeah, it's a huge difference.
So
like,
wait. People are still playing 2?
Way more. Payday, when I looked at the time, I don't have the data here, but when I looked, Payday 3 on Steam, by the way, and this is a Game Pass game, so we give it a little benefit of the doubt. Payday 3 had about 1,300 players on Steam. It had almost 40,000 for 2 on Steam. It's a huge difference, man. That is not something you can just overlook. So we went back to Payday 2. We installed it. You know, it was $2 on Steam already. So anyone who didn't have it, it was a cheap, easy pickup. Fired it up. I mean, man, this game is still great. We robbed a jewelry store, did it without alerting anyone. Just like that. Get down on the ground. Yeah, it's janky, but it works, man. It's a ton of fun. I mean, just getting that flawless robbery, like securing a whole block on a street, taking out cops and everything. I mean, it's such a great idea. And I can't believe I haven't played this much in the last number of years because I used to play a ton of Payday 2, but getting back into it, it was a pretty fun co-op wave. But now we're turning our attention. We haven't played it yet. We're turning our attention to this new wave here. Lethal Company. Have you seen this game? It's been all over social media. It's the one where these dudes it's like a 4-player co-op game. They're trying to get resources and materials for this company, and there are like aliens and monsters crawling around these hallways. It's kind of like a Phasmophobia style game, if you will. And everyone's in game chat, and it's creating some of the funniest clips where like you'll just hear someone on the radio like, "Hey, what is that? What is that?" And you just hear like the radio cut off. Like it's great, man. I really do see that game being a ton of fun. So we're looking to move on to that next.
Nice.
But that's been my multiplayer romp. Meanwhile, in the world of single player games, I've done everything but start Yakuza 3. I've made the decision.
All right,
I think I'm going to start. So we did it. I'll tease this. We did a DDU for the Yakuza franchise for our holiday break. That'll be out while we're away. But because of that conversation, I've made some calls on when I want to approach this series. And I'm going to do it once my break starts because I have a couple of things I want to wrap up to make sure I have every game considered for my Game of the Year conversation. And there's 2 pressing games I got to finish within 15 days. So Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun. Picked it up on a Steam sale. Got my Steam Deck OLED behind me. Was playing it on that too. By the way, Steam Deck OLED COG. I'm going to be honest, man.
All right, let's go. Talk to me.
I'm going to be honest, man.
Talk to me.
I'm starting to teeter back to the other side. I'm playing games right now, literally. So ROG Ally has it obviously in performance, of course, clearly, right? But the Steam Deck's user interface,
UI is clean,
and the user experience, like both are just way better. Where, like for example, I fired up my ROG Ally. I wanted to play Starfield on it, and it's like the only device I've had where it's like it just says, "Hold on, we're syncing your save," and it's just moving.
That beat is brutal. Yeah, that beat is brutal.
Only device that does it, and it kills it for me because that's like my Xbox handheld. I'm like, this is perfect for everything Xbox, but it has that thing there that just the cloud save syncing is so bad on it. But with the Steam Deck, like, bro, while I was waiting for you because you had to take a couple calls. I'm like in my living room. I just bust out the Steam Deck OLED immediately. It's like syncs my save. Boom, let's go. So I've been playing Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun, and I gotta say, dude, that this like I forgot how much I love the old school Doom style game. Now, this game, when I say Doom, I'm not talking 2016, 2020. I'm talking like original Doom, right? That fast, fluid, hefty first-person shooter. And Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun channels all of that energy It's what they call nowadays a boomer shooter. It's a nice $20 title, not super long. I think it's like a total of 15, 18 levels, something like that, across 3 chapters. I'm in the middle of chapter 2 right now. I got about 3 hours in the game. I'm going to be honest, man, like this is shaping up to be one of my favorite games of the year.
Wow.
It's a ton of fun. It's one of those games, like it gives me like Guitar Hero vibe, or you know, Guitar Hero or Rock Band when you're playing and like you get that itch on your nose and I'm like, bro, I can't scratch right now. Like I got to keep the riff going.
Keep it going.
Here with Bolt Gun, it's like if I get that itch on my nose, it's like you're one enemy here, one enemy here. Like they got this huge diverse cast of enemies. They're coming at you from all angles. And you're this, I think you're a space marine. I don't know much about the Warhammer 40K lore, but like you are this dude who's working on the behest of the Emperor. And this man taunts and talks a ton of shit. And I'm not talking like dude, bro, talk shit. He's like, for the will of the Emperor. And like, you can point at people like chaos, filth. And like, you can jump on them, Goomba stomp them out.
Okay,
it's got some impeccable sound design. So like when you're shooting people, it's chunky, it's visceral. Like you really feel the damage of your weapons. And so it's a simple shooter. Like it's not reinventing the wheel per se, but it's so much fun to play. It feels so good. I love the look of the game. Like they've just got something here in Bolt Gun that, especially with the diverse enemy variety, I mean, it just really makes it like you're always getting sucked in and like you can't break your attention away. You're always on to the next battle. And so I've really been liking it. Like, again, it's a simple game. Like you start off a level, you walk into probably one horde, you search for a key, you find the key that matches the door by a color, and you kind of just rinse and repeat that cycle. You're just doing that over and over. But it's just the shooting and the arenas and the level design and the weapons themselves. Like there's this heavy bolter gun that you can use that you just like and lighten dudes up. So good. So good. So I'm impressed. And it works great on Steam Deck. Works great on PC. I've been just bouncing back and forth between those two. Again, it was on the autumn sale or the whatever sale they just did recently.
Black Friday, right?
Yeah, something like that for $15. So I picked it up because I was really curious about it. And I'm glad I'm playing it because it's definitely one of my favorites of the year.
Heads up, I sent you something real quick because I'm just being messy. They did, I know you absolutely loving your OLED right now. Yeah. They just, Warren and them put out, I think Microsoft put out a new UI that's Windows compact mode that's specifically for Ally. That's post. Perfect. I haven't tested it. I haven't played my Ally in about a day or two. So I'll get back to you to see. Yeah. But they finally executed what they were promising when I went to see the Ally debut. Microsoft was like, look, we're going to work with it to make a true, because technically it's a Windows PC that's not designed for a handheld at all. So hopefully if these changes hit, I'll let you know and see, if they really improve performance as well as stuff that we're talking about, syncing.
More native integration is what's needed, right? So,
So at least it's a start. That's also
absolutely. I'm not saying that suddenly I love this more than my ROG Ally, although I could see myself using it more, but it's clean. But it's the improvements the Steam Deck's made beyond just the screen. Like it's not just the OLED. Like I was playing Warhammer, and I know that's not like a super demanding game, but you've used the Steam Deck. You know how it roars when you use it. It roars when you're downloading a game, man. Or I don't know if I got a funky system, but like, dude, it just roars for everything. This one, quiet as a church mouse. No noise at all.
Heat before? So before he used to be burning my hand up on side.
No, heat? Yeah, no. Like great heat management.
Nice.
System's nice and cool after like a long session. Like not ice cold, but like it. You can feel it's been used, but it's not like really hot. The UX is like smoothed out completely. Download speeds are way better. So that was another problem I've had where like the ROG Ally did take the cake in that. And so I feel like the Steam Deck OLED now is raised the bar and actually maybe the best in the handheld when it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
Like I downloaded Baldur's Gate 3 on it and like it was done within, I have great internet. It was done, and that's 100+ gigabyte game. It was done within like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a big upgrade compared to like what it typically would have been, which is my system would have been roaring. It probably would have taken like 3, 4, 5 hours to do. It felt very handicapped in that department. So that fortunately is not a problem anymore. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Those are like the main things that stood out to me. But really been loving the Steam Deck. Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun's been the latest I've played on that.
Mhm.
And then I mentioned Baldur's Gate 3. That's the last game I've been playing, and that's been a blast. We're in the middle of Act 2 right now, so we're getting to Act 3, which I know is apparently like the biggest part of the game. But dude, this game is. I have a critique, but otherwise, it's been awesome.
All right. So
this game right now, because like we're 45 something like that hours in, and my biggest critique of Baldur's Gate 3 is like now in Act 2, the story is really picking up. But I was reflecting and I was thinking, like, Act 1 was really cool, but like I was wondering, like, why have I not, like, Liza P, I was like, I love this. Octopath Traveler, I love this, right? Like that immediate intimacy with the game. Well, Baldur's Gate 3, it's been more gradual, and I love it now, but I'm like, what was wrong is what I was thinking. I was like, you know what it is? It's that there's less weight to the story because it doesn't feel like there really is a story in Act 1. Like, like there's the mind flayer, you got something in your head, and you're all connected with that, and you're trying to find a way to get rid of that. And that's like it for 30 hours. And I feel like in Act 2, they finally go like, okay, let's ramp it up. And they do a great job at that. There's this one character, man. This dude is fucking sick. Voiced by J.K. Simmons. Like, this dude is raw. Like, there's this point. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I won't say anything else. But like, if I'm about to spoil something, that's how cool he is.
That's how cool he is.
He has one of the best villain introductions I think I've seen this year. Like, the way he steps into the scene and what happens to him and how he fucking throws it in someone's face and tells him, do it again. So good.
Okay.
So good. So yeah, I don't know if this is a main villain that's setting up here. I hope he is, but like, yeah, this character is very, very interesting to me. So yeah, we're picking up some steam. Baldur's Gate 3 continues to be fantastic. I'm hoping to have this game done by the 15th, because what I want to do is my Game of the Year video, and I also want to do my final verdict video because of so many other games I was reviewing this holiday season. And I think I'm about to start work on another one. I just keep like trying to balance BG3 in the mix, and it's just like I had to wait to give it its time and attention. And so now these last couple of weeks, I had to pause my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough because my buddy who I've been playing co-op with went away for Thanksgiving. So that time to do a lot of retro rebound prep. So it's been bouncing around a lot, but this game has been fantastic. The fact that it has kept that mind share for me while I'm going through all these games and for how long it's been out and this journey we've been on, and I still have this attachment to the characters and now the story is really a testament to how good the game is. Because most other games, I feel like, you know what, we got to start over. I feel like we haven't given it a good chance, but like it feels like you're always doing something meaningful every session. So that's the other key point here. So yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, fantastic. That's all I have been playing this week.
Nice.
Got one warm-up question, and then we will get into the news. Jake Williams, congrats. You're the sole write-in. Hey, Matty and Cog. A recent article from gamesindustry.biz noted that the majority of kids in the United States want subscriptions and in-game currency for Christmas. I don't even know if I can have the stomach to make this one, man. The data comes from the ESA, which states that subscriptions were the most popular gift idea at 39%, followed closely by consoles at 38%, game accessories at 32%, and in-game currency at 29%. Surprisingly, only 22% of the children surveyed wanted physical games this Christmas. Does this surprise you guys at all? Do you think gaming will make some major changes to fit the wants of the future generation? Most importantly, how do you think these changes will affect older gamers like ourselves, or are we already experiencing these changes now? Thanks, and have a finally finished off the leftovers kind of day. I can relate to that. I had that the other day. I was like, man, we're finally done. But now it's like trying to find the next meal, right? It's like we used to do all this meal prep, and then we had all of these Thanksgiving things ready for us to go, and then that's gone, and so gotta cook again. But Cog, the youth, man.
I know the narrative.
What the hell happened, man? Who's raising these fools? What happened?
Who raised you?
Yeah. Before I go on my tirade, I'd love to hear from you a more level-headed take.
Look, man, it is surprising for us OGs, us hardcore to hear stuff like this. And, look, in fairness, it is, one data point in the United States. Definitely would like to hear a couple more, but it's a good one. It's a good reference, just to say, okay, look, subscriptions are up. They said 39%. So what I get from that is that I almost simplified. I look at it like the kid, at Christmas and stuff where people be like, yo, all right, what do you want? Right. And back in the day, we're from the era like, yo, can you get me this specific thing or this console and this and that? Now it's like, you give these kids that, they get mad, especially if it's not exactly what they want. Like, they're upset. Like, I've seen videos online go viral about, this is not what I want. It's not about being grateful for the moment anymore. It's about choice. So now it's like, all right, shut up, you little brat. I'm going to give you the gift card or wherever you want, and you go get what you want, or you go to subscribe whatever you want. That's the energy I kind of get from this. Obviously, consoles are still there, right? But it's a realm of choice. I feel like the younger generation, they want the ability to say, I can pick from what I want, right? Now, will this translate and continue trending? We have to see, right? But I know Microsoft's paying attention to this kind of stuff. I know that, this is kind of aligns with their future and stuff like that. And then obviously if it's sustainable, we have to see. But yeah, I'm this generation, we have to be honest with ourselves as gamers. We represent a very small part of the pie, in terms of what the casual is buying or what the younger generation that's coming in, what are their habits, what are their spending, what are their engagement, what are they engaging in, mobile, seems like subscription service, other things, as opposed to the traditional console guy. So yeah, that don't translate the physical as much. And I know my boy Matty going through it. He's old soul. I respect it. You know what I'm saying? I'm there too. But it is interesting to see. Just now, I just want to chart these numbers and see, how do these trends continue or not? Is the question. But what do you say Mr. Matty plays right now? What's going on?
It's honestly less about the physical games and the lack of desire for them, because I get that, right? We're going into more downloads and whatnot. But when I think about, because it's funny, Colin has said this, but about Xbox, and I would disagree with it. Like, he says, for example, that like Xbox is training their consumers to not buy games, and I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. But I think iPads and games on like the Apple Store and the Google Play Store are what train the next generation to not buy games. And my worry with the ripple effect of that is like, my generation, and maybe the one before us, were the last ones to grow up with like core gaming memories of like, I went to a store and I bought this. I remember when I bought this. And there's eventually, we're all going to get old and retire, whatever. And the people who are making games might be the people who went like, man, remember when I found Angry Birds on the App Store and downloaded it? That was my jam as a kid. And it's like, and I say that because like, I don't want to speak for every creative, but like for me, I take inspiration from what grew me into this role, right? And I think every person who's like that on this planet would say the same thing. And so when your source material is like freemium products for the most part, or even like a Sonic game that's been put on like the Apple's arcade store, like it's just the quality bar, with all due respect, lowers, and that first experience of something is lower. And so I feel it's going to be training the mindset of maybe 2-3 generations from now, we'll start to feel the real impact of that, because the people who grew up with games had completely different experiences from us. And so I'm glad that consoles are in the race, but subscriptions, it's like, that rings hollow. And I come from a more sentimental household, in the sense that, like, if I gave you a gift card, or if someone were to give me a gift card, I do and people who know me know this, so it's not me. I'm never an asshole when someone gives me a gift, but a gift card from a like core family member, or a gift card from like a close friend, that says to me like, yo, I forgot. I don't know what the fuck you want. I don't know you well enough. So you get yourself something, which I'm never going to be ungrateful towards. And I'm not coming across like that brat. I'm big on gift giving, because to me, it's a love language, if you will, in that it communicates me knowing something about you, or that I saw something and I thought of you, and that I wanted to give this to you, right? And so when it's like a card that has a download code or I got you 3 months of Game Pass, kiddo, like that's super exciting, right? For a little kid, because you're just giving them a whole library. But I just think about how important it is to have that like material connection to like, I have up in my, it's a little more sentimental, but my Uncle George, when I was a kid, got me a snow globe, a Charlie Brown snow globe. And so
Nice.
I have that up on my etagere in my living room, and part of all of the Christmas decorations. And it's like, you know, like that's a special gift I got, and like it's special because I can see it and hold it. But like, I feel when we step away from those material goods, in a sense, you lose some of the intimacy. And I again, it goes back to the creative process. Like part of that is intimacy. Like KOTOR means a lot because
absolutely
the number one story I always tell people is I saw it at a Circuit City. Like I saw it in the $10 and below bin. Like there's a difference between that journey and then going to the Xbox store and seeing, oh, Black Friday sale, shit, 50% off. Yeah, like I don't know, man. I get it. I'm old man shouting at the cloud, but this kind of gave me pause in that. Does it surprise me? No, not necessarily. You know, whenever I'm on the train going to New York City, for example, always there's like a family and the kids are just grinding these shitty looking games on their iPad. And yeah, I get judgmental because I'm like, yo, that looks awful. And the fact that I will never see a kid playing a Vita, a PSP, a 3DS, a Game Boy Advance, it sucks, man. Because I think I've said it before. I always say I'm lucky I grew up when I did, because I feel bad for kids growing up in this generation where it's TikTok, it's Instagram Reels, it's short attention span video games, it's monetization. It sucks, man.
There you go.
So I hope that what we do here perseveres and continues to stick to inspire them to leave that and go to where, yes, I'm going to say it, real games are at.
Oh, talk to it. So, no, you preach it. You preach it.
I could go on, but I won't.
No, that's literally what's going on, and I think it's just a different demographic, and not to get too preachy, but it's also the era of people raising their kids, and the iPad or the Android is the babysitter.
Yeah,
right? So the kid now, gets that. And again, everything you said, short attention span. It's a different generation, and for us, it's heartbreaking because we have that sentimental connection, and we know what the higher bar of games could be. So it's our generation trying to pass it down like, yo, but our kids, whatever, you gonna learn about this here because, so we got to keep this alive kind of thing. But, the sad reality is, maybe it is shifting like that, right? And that's one thing that we have to be cognizant of. But yeah, good points. I do understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in, Jake Williams. Yeah, we appreciate you. Let's get into the news, Cog. I want to start off with the Game Awards. Xbox has teased, quote, important announcements and other Xbox news you don't want to miss, end quote, at the Game Awards. Now, last year was a really dire, dismal Game Awards for Xbox. It was where they got blocked by the FTC. It was where they had no presence and people lost their minds. And then we got the developer direct and it felt like, okay, we're turning the page here. I'm wondering, sir, this is the fun part. What do you I mean, they're announcing that there are going to be announcements, and this could be obviously one of two things. Option A, they got something big to show. Option B, they're trying to prepare people like, look, we're going to be there. Don't throw us into the headlines quite yet, saying like, here's why Xbox needs to be at the Game Awards. Like they're already confirming we're going to be there. We have announcements and news. So I want to dish it to you right away. What do you think will be there?
This is interesting, right? Because they are making the announcement, and we know, like you said, about last year, what happened. And what I also thought interesting about last year is technically they sat on Hi-Fi Rush. They could have done it there, right? But they saved it for the direct. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, maybe they're pulling away from it and, not having as heavy a presence based on what they did last year. But for this announcement, and from what we hear, there's internal messaging going out to certain people like, hey, you need to tune in. You need to see. We're going to be there. I feel if you're going to be at the Game Awards, you're making some form of a splash. You're making something that's significant that we have not seen yet. So my immediate thing, and don't take this the wrong way, Ninja Theory, I kind of threw some shots at you earlier, and I mean this in all the nicest and respectfully. Don't want to see Hellblade there. That's just me. I have seen you.
Unless you got like a close date or gameplay. Well, if it's gameplay, no date.
Honestly, nah. Because my thing is, you debut with the console as a technical showpiece. You showed off some in-engine at the beach, storming the beach, fighting the troll thing. Looked great. That was amazing. But now it's overexposure. Yes, if they if it's there and they show gameplay like combat, I won't be mad. But there's a part of me that's like, you could save that for your direct, and when you're ready.
Yeah.
I feel you need to hit with something new. You need to hit with something that we either don't know about or we know about but we never seen. We knew it's in development. So the streets are talking right now. Some people are saying Gear 6 could be right now. For me, it makes sense.
Who said that? Wait, what?
The streets are talking. The streets are talking. I see it. All right. Yeah, the streets are talking. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people outside saying Gear 6 all over the place. I'm seeing people make renders of Gear 6 older Marcus Phoenix. Oh, yeah, it's outside, right? So theoretically, it does make sense that Coalition, we could hear about you, a trailer or what have you. That's been out there. The other thing is, God Howard did say we should hear about Indiana Jones at some point, right? That's a possibility, right? And then, we got to see it. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on that either it's going to be something we just don't know about and something that I feel that potentially probably will debut maybe 2024, late 2025 kind of energy. So I don't know. I will say for it to be there, it has to be substantial. I feel you can't retread, so to speak. Because think about it, we got Perfect Dark one year, right? The only thing that was shown twice was Hellblade. But the first one I don't really count. That was just more of like, yo, the big bad wolf is coming Series X, and by the way, this is kind of a showcase of power kind of thing, right? Yeah. So I get it slide. It was good to still show it though. Don't get me wrong. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm curious where you are. I'm just happy that they are going to do something, because the last point I'll make is this. You need to have presence. I know King and Addict do not agree with me here, because they're like, yo, stop giving stuff to Geoff. Give it to your own show. But as we know, this is for the masses. You're going to get the eyes that you don't normally get on Xbox. You're going to get people who are diehard casual. You're going to get people who are diehard PlayStation, diehard Nintendo. Like, oh, Xbox is doing that? You need that audience. You need those eyes. If we're going to be really smart here, intelligent, just talking to your own ecosystem isn't just enough. You're not at that global brand level of a Nintendo Switch and a PlayStation right now. You know what I'm saying? You hope to be down on it, but you're not. So that's how I look at it. I look at it from a pure business standpoint. You do need to be there and showcase something new. And the last point, preferably exclusive, right? Because it needs to be like, oh, wow, Xbox has that? Right? Okay, I'm interested. So what do you think, sir? Because the streets are buzzing.
I have a number of guesses. My main guess is based on two things. One is the leak that we had earlier this year where we got the Bethesda release list, right? And the other is that before this was mentioned that Xbox is making an important announcement, that I was told, like, hey, you're going to want to tune in by a couple of people.
Yes, we heard.
Which the only time that's happened before was with, it is not this, by the way, but I'm saying that the only time this happened before was the KOTOR remake. Like the morning of, I had a few emails and I had a few DMs like, watch this PlayStation showcase. You're going to be very happy. With the Xbox One, it was saying like, knowing your taste, you're going to want to tune in.
Oh, knowing your taste. Interesting.
Yeah, right. And I have...
You got taste.
The problem is, I have a lot I like. And so it could be anything from that list. My guess is it's something Bethesda, though. And if I were to just take a random shot...
Let's go.
I want to say it would be the Oblivion remake.
Okay, are you going?
I
Okay,
think.
okay,
I don't know. That's
okay.
like just again, I'm just thinking based off my taste, what we saw leaked,
Think of
and
Bethesda.
it's Xbox, and like I guess it could be that. I mean, it could be a number of things. People know I love Persona, right?
Yes.
That could be another thing. Is it Persona 6? Is it? It's. I don't know if it's BioWare related. I love Dragon Age and Mass Effect. It's going to be attached to those. I just know it's going to be something apparently I really like. Is it going to be the Fallout remaster with the Fallout TV show getting all those news? Is it kind of like I predicted where you get the Fallout TV show trailer, does the Fallout 3 remaster get announced? Like, it's really anybody's guess. But
I know some other things you really like.
What other things do I like?
I mean, being that we talk about lists that you brought up that was, in the trial that was leaked, and we saw a roadmap. We saw Bethesda's roadmap, theoretically. And let's play the game. Let's just, based on what we saw, right? We knew that Ghostwire did come out. We knew Starfield was on that did came out. Refueled was on that came out. We saw Deathloop that came out, right? We saw another game that came out. And, I know you has pushed back a little bit on the existence. A lot of people play. Even Rand has pushed back on me on the existence of this one, because people say, hey, they say, listen to what Phil said. Phil said, hey, things have changed. Things are not, as accurate. But Cog is of the belief, and I'm going to stand on this square, that list is real. I'm treating it like what was the one?
Yeah.
That's treating it like the Nvidia leak.
Yeah. That's the holy Bible of Xbox or Bethesda leaks. Yeah, 100%.
So if, in my opinion, if the teams at Bethesda came together and said, bro, we need to make this Dishonored 3, right? And they say, yo, you know what? Yeah, it's time, right? And we heard rumors of connected universes with other games, right? And I personally, the reason why it surprised me is because I didn't see the popular flannel game immediately having a sequel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they could take a break from the flannel game. For those that know, that watch Duke, the Realm of the Dukes, y'all know we talk about Deathloop, right? Yeah. And there's a certain little somebody that Matty put me on to, this Corvo dude. That I'm just saying. How you feel about that? That would be a big deal. How we feeling?
I wonder, because that's the thing is, here's my problem, Cog. If we really want to psychoanalyze a couple of messages I've received, I don't know how much people know about me and on a broader sense. I think the reason I think it's Bethesda is I don't mean to make this all about me. Like, unfortunately, I think a lot of people just don't, who know me on like Twitter, for example, or know me via email, don't know beyond my Mr. Matty channel. Like, they don't know on Retro Rebound, like, I lose my shit over a million other series. Many people just look at me as like, that's the Bethesda guy, right? It's like, I am so much more than that. I feel like I've proven that, but many people just whittle my taste down to that every fucking time without fail. So that's why my head just goes there. The only series I'm otherwise very loud about is KOTOR, and we know what's happening with that. Like, it's not going to be KOTOR.
True.
So it's I feel like it's got to be Bethesda really. I say that because I don't know how many people know my adoration for Dishonored. Like, how much I think that series is incredible outside of the realm of the Dukes, because then I'm over on Retro Rebound, I'm over on Mr. Matty's. Like, how much are people listening that are just tuned into everything I'm doing? That's pretty hard to keep up with. So that's why I'm like not guessing too hard, but it could be anything. If it's Dishonored 3, I will be extremely excited. Yeah, that would be like the flannel moment of the year, right? That would be awesome.
I'd go crazy, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to think otherwise though. Gear 6
how you feel
is
about
an interesting one. I don't think so. I don't know. Something about that doesn't feel right to me.
Too much.
Yeah, this feels like a kind of Xbox showcase reveal.
Ding, ding,
and
ding.
It almost feels, and I know some people are going to push back, it almost feels too soon. With just how much we've seen Coalition doing. Like, they did the Unreal Engine 5 demo. They were working on another game that got canceled. They had the Hive Busters expansion. They've had things that have kind of been like intermittent and not massive projects, but enough that's like not all of their full focus has been on. They had to help with Halo Infinite, by the way. Not all of their full focus has been on Gears, right? And we know they teased like a Gears 6, if you will, a while ago, and I mean they're setting up on a new engine in Unreal Engine 5. I don't know. I feel like that's still a ways off. I don't know if I feel super confident that one's coming around. And I like that it's not coming around because I think the best strategy, if they could pull it off, would be people are starting to miss Gears now. I think it's a good time to strike with like a Gears Marcus Phoenix collection and then build up the hype, the people catching up. And by that point, a year or two from there, you do Gears 6. I just don't know. Maybe I'm just leaning too much into what I think would be ideal, but I don't know if Gears 6, that doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah,
I'd love to be wrong because I love Gears, but I don't know if that would be one that shows up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope if I'm wrong, hey, this is a good thing to be wrong about, right? But like, yeah, I feel like Gears is almost too iconic to not be on an Xbox stage. I feel like, and then like you said, I don't feel like it's too soon, but I do feel like if you're going to talk to this audience, right? This audience kind of knows you for Halo and Gears already. Mm-hmm. So to me, you got to kind of knock their socks off. You got to at least give them something to be excited about that's not that. So I would reserve Gears for an Xbox stage. Again, not bad that it shows up, but yeah, hey, if it's Bethesda or if it's Indiana it might be, that he's bombastic, he's cinematic, he's got a flair to him,
Indiana Jones would be awesome. Yeah. I have a good prediction.
Okay.
I think do you think we get the mid-gen refresh here? The all digital Series X, and then also I'm looking at it now, the controller, right? The controller that's stuff. Like the play anywhere, you lift to wake it up.
Interesting.
Really like kind of solidifying the digital push. Do you think we get that here? Because I feel like that could easily be something there because they're talking important announcements, a lot of news. So like you combine that with like a game or two, and it's a pretty strong Game Awards presence for Xbox.
Announcement signifies plural.
Yes.
Now, if it's plural on the software side and the platform side, awesome, right? I can't remember if they ever. Yeah, I mean they've done hardware. Obviously, they've done the Series X. Oof.
Right? Yeah, they've brought hardware to the Game Awards, so
it's a good point.
It's a little more palpable.
My guess is platform different. The only reason why I say no to Series X is because you showed the main console. I get that, new generation, new console. I get that. I don't know if you show a mid-generation refresh to this audience that says, wait a minute, we want to see the games, bro. You know what I'm saying? So part of me says no, but I take platform to mean Game Pass. So what if you have some type of Game Pass announcement in addition? So like, again, one of my slam dunks that everyone's kind of going for. I mean, I shouldn't call it a slam dunk, but one thing that I think would be interesting is what if Larian did take a bag, right? It was like Baldur's Gate, because they being cryptic all the way up to this.
That's like a guaranteed shadow drop, I think.
It's going to be there. And we know it's just a matter of, it's coming to the platform, and fine, that's great because we've been waiting for it to come to Xbox. But hey, they want to throw a little cherry on top and say, you took the bag and it's a Game Pass. So as of right now, kind of energy that would hit from a platform level or any other big game associated with Game Pass. But I'm with you. Some form of exclusive as the game, and if you want to do something on the platform side, maybe Game Pass. But I don't know. Could they show an accessory there? It'd be interesting.
I think they could if it was like if it was combined with something else, like
because you can't show it by itself.
The game and then follow it up with a trailer for the console and stuff. So
okay,
it comes together.
Okay,
that'd be my personal guess on it.
For the Xbox, what is it? Brooklyn. What was it called?
There's Brooklyn and Smile.
You gonna bring the cone out? You gonna bring the cylinder out?
Yeah. You think they're gonna anything happen? Because like Sarah Bond posted like a random Xbox logo.
Oh,
now
did you
president
see
of Xbox?
Did you see what logo that was? What generation of Xbox?
360.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Activision apparently we'll get into a little bit. The integration is moving quicker than ever.
Good catch.
Do you think like the Vault part of the Vault gets dropped in there? Is that?
That's a good.
I know we're going gung ho now. This starts to sound more and more like a wire post or their own developer direct. But I mean, there's just so many options for them to play with. And I think the big question alongside that I want to ask you is, what do you think happens with a developer direct? Like if they go hard at the Game Awards, do you think that immediately like neuters their ability to do a good developer direct around the top of the year like we were kind of expecting? Because they were talking again. I mean, the other thing I wanted to throw out there too, just for food for thought, is Matt Booty just said in a recent interview, like, yeah, every 3 months, like we got a big game coming out. And it's like, if you look at Force's release date, time's ticking. Like we're a couple months away. I don't know if it'll exactly be in January, but like, they might actually have something. They've shown no fear in Shadow dropping Hi-Fi Rush, so who knows? But what do you make of all of that too?
I think you're on to something with the Sarah Bond tweet. I think that it's clear as day that's 360, right? So if we're going to talk again announcements, we guessed it's going to be some exclusive or some form. But then what else can you show? Another thing that could be a platform announcement is, hey, guess what, audience? Your hardcore knows about this ABK thing, but I don't think you guys realize what's about to happen. And now you sizzle reel the ABK games, part of the Xbox family, the Call of Duties, the Spider-Mans, the whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's part of this. And you like will be Game Pass. You just announce it like 2024 is going to be huge for us. Here's the sizzle, ABK. This is everything you're going to be getting as part of the Xbox ecosystem. Oh, that could be really nice.
Right. And the biggest stage of them all, showing the integration. Yes,
and showing what it truly means from a gamer perspective. And they still hold their promise that they're not going to release anything because they said they're not going to do anything in 2023, but 2024 is when they're going to push on it. You're just setting it up because really the Game Awards is about setting it up, getting the hype train going on that kind. So I think you're onto something with that. ABK could be a contender for one of these things if we're expecting, at least 2 announcements, so to speak.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Let's go.
Starfield DLC. Too soon? For like showing something, like here's what's next.
Good question. That's a good one. I mean, I'm selfish. I'm trying to remove my bias from this. I
know we both want it, right?
Oh my God, I want it. You know what I'm saying? Like you know that. I mean, you could because
okay, let's hear it.
The Reasons Pro is you go, I should have been on that damn Game of the Year nomination. I'm talking from an Xbox selfish executive standpoint. You should have damn nominated us on that, but okay, fine.
We'll be talking about it anyway.
Yeah, we can talk about it. So guess what? One of the highest sold and highest engaged games that we have. Boom! Here's the blah blah blah. What was the name of the season thing? What was it called?
Shattered Space.
Shattered Space. Yeah. You could. This is tough. That's tough. The only pushback I give against my own theory is that I still feel you have to show something new. And even though Shattered Space is new content, I would say 60-40 no. Close though. Close. If it was ready to be shown and it looked phenomenal and it's a different take on the space and okay, fine. But there's a part of me that says, you know what? You could still save that for your own, and you want to give people, okay, what else, Xbox? That's my mindset. You're looking at the guy that says, okay, you had this, Forza, you had this. What else, Xbox? Why should I continue to be excited about your ecosystem? That's why I always lean towards newer game IP that we don't know about at the thing.
Towerborn release date, probably. I know it's not like a big whopping announcement, but like that could be a piece of the puzzle.
I would like you to keep those bars for your own.
Oh, is that a developer direct talk?
That's that developer direct energy. Matt, you could bring those guys out. We could have the couches for you. Paris, I love you. You can bring you out. You know what I'm saying? Like no disrespect. It's just I don't think it's big enough for the state. You need bombastic. You need a couple of A's out here. You need A's. This is the Game Awards. These are those guys. Right?
You need to put your best foot forward. I get it. Yeah. Just throwing out all the ideas. I'm the idea.
I like it. I like it.
I think you're onto something. Like if I were to park it on something,
let's go. What you doing?
I think Indiana Jones is a good guess. I think I think I'll say it every time till I'm blue in the face when and don't take my guess seriously on that one because I always am predicting machine games. And even a blind squirrel could find a nut. So look, one of these times we'll get it right and machine games will show up. But I just feel, again, we're overdue to know what machine games is working on.
Facts.
I would love to take a look at Indiana Jones. So I think, did Todd say talk soon or talk next year, though?
Yeah,
let me check real
right.
quick. Todd Howard, Indiana Jones. You say next year?
Yeah,
he said we'll talk next year.
Yeah, so 2024 there.
So maybe yeah, never mind.
Maybe not. Okay. No,
that's an easy one to strike off. Unless they show something and then there's more coming next year.
Could be. All you gotta do is show a trailer. You know what I'm saying? And then you can write more to come next year. You could get away with that, but yeah, it's a tough one, man. If Bethesda's there, I'll just say that's huge with the type of year that they've had, in general, with really launching on the platform. So, oh man, I'm really excited. They're really excited about something. It's gonna be something I feel at least substantial on some level. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm gonna park it on Oblivion remake. I feel like the rumors are there. The timing is right. My tastes are right. I just feel like it's all matching. I that's gonna be my guess. It's got to be one of the two remake remasters that are rumored from Bethesda.
I'm shooting for the stars. I'm a park it on the hope and the dream.
Okay.
Everyone laughed me out the room with Dishonored. I'm pulling for Dishonored, man.
Okay. No, I love it. Yeah, we're winning either way at this point.
Yeah, Dishonored 3 would really, if it's Bethesda and not like a Gears or whatever, right? Then yeah, like that to me, because they want to do it. That document, I'm like, that M&A document, bro. We saw what you got, what I was like, I wouldn't believe it would have been on their list after, especially with Deathloop and everything else going on. So to see that there, I was like, oh, y'all want to do that? Okay. I'm shooting for the stars. Come on, Corvo. Man, give me a magical situation.
Bro, I'm telling you, if they made a Dishonored 3 with Colt, Corvo, Emily,
in the same universe.
Yeah, just bring them all together. 4 playable characters. Like that's what like Redfall should have been, is what it'll end up being, right? Just that bringing all of the cast of the 2 games together for like this massive stealth sim. Dream game for sure.
Dream game for me. I'm selfish.
All right. Well, we'll see. Not much longer now. And we'll have our show timed out for the Game Awards, so we'll make sure we're all on top of that.
Yeah.
Number 2 here. Probably our headline for the episode. I haven't decided what I'm going to label this yet, but I know a lot of people are talking in, and we got the most write-ins about this as well. Bethesda has taken matters into their own hands as their customer support team has begun to respond to Starfield's fan-submitted reviews on Steam. This is the same customer support team that didn't do much at all about Fallout 76's canvas bag situation, and also asked banned players of that game to submit an essay requesting that they be unbanned. So just so you know who you're dealing with here. First response here. I'm not going to read all of them word for word because some of them do repeat things, but just so you can get a real feel for some of the Bethesda support team. Hi, we appreciate you taking time to provide your review, and sorry to hear you did not enjoy your time in Starfield. Feel that things are getting boring. There's so much to do more than just the main story. Some of Starfield's planets are meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. When the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored. The intention of Starfield's exploration is to evoke a feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can continue to explore and find worlds that do have resources you need or hidden outposts to look through. Next one. By the way, this is across 2 different support team members. Hi there. Thank you for taking the time to provide your review, and we're sorry to hear that you were disappointed in encountering many loading screens while playing. While there may be many loading screens in between fast traveling, just consider the amount of data for the expansive gameplay that is procedurally generated to load flawlessly in under 3 seconds. We believe that shortcoming will not hinder our players from getting lost in the world we created. Starfield is an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. Most quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. Try creating different characters with different backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are oppositive of your previous character. You will feel like you are playing a totally different game. And then, last one here. Greetings. Thank you for taking time to leave a review for Starfield. We're sorry to hear you do not like landing on different planets and are finding many of them empty. So, sorry. I think I copy and pasted this one again.
Oh, no, you good.
I think there was a third one somewhere where it said, like, you can fly, shoot, loot. There's so much to do in Starfield. I'll grab that in a moment here, but we'll park it there. I'll bring it up in a second here. Apologies for my mistake. Ladies writes in and says, hey, Dukes, what are your guys' thoughts on Bethesda addressing negative reviews on Starfield on Steam, as pointed out by Juicehead on Twitter? While I understand creatives wanting to justify their decisions, this move just comes off as overly defensive and reeks of insecurity. the messages themselves also just seem weird and tone deaf, especially the one about the astronauts not being bored on the moon. Wonder if you guys feel the same way. Take care, guys. Thank you, ladies, for writing in. Let me grab that third comment because one of them is just downright fucking hilarious. But Cog, I got to get your thoughts first on this one here, man. What is happening here? I know the one thing I will say in defense, just early on, so people understand what we're talking about, what's happening here, because I've seen the thumbnails, I've seen the. I say this as someone who has clickbaited before. I've seen the clickbait. Like a lot of people are framing this like it's Todd sitting there punching out these fucking messages, and it's like the Bethesda development team. This is their it's each time it's signed. Warm regards, Bethesda customer support. So it is their customer support team, which has a history of doing really dumb shit, like I mentioned with the Fallout 76 situation. So I just think it is important to look at it through that lens, not to defend them, but to understand and properly direct the frustration and the agitation and the anger in the right way. So, Cog, with that, what do you make of Bethesda signing on and responding to the now mixed rating of Starfield's reviews over on Steam?
Look, so full disclosure, right? Because I know this has come up before as far as Cog and his opinion on Steam reviews and stuff. And I will say, there is something that I wasn't aware of, which is this is standard practice. And I was shocked by this because it was brought to my attention, like, what do you mean? Like, because I'm going to be real. The human element, when I first natural reaction is like, yo, this is kind of cornbally. I'm going to be real. Like, my normal gut reaction was like, why are we trying to convince someone that don't like something to like something? That's how I felt reading it first read. Just got to be honest, right? So, especially the one that was like about, what you mean, you bored? When NASA was out there, this is kind of funny to me. Just being honest. I thought it was hilarious. Got to be honest. Like, you try to convince somebody that your boss is hot and your boss wasn't hot. Okay, fine. All jokes aside. Did some research on it. According to community managers, this is a thing. Like, I thought Bethesda was jumping outside the box and just, oh man, the pressure of all that's going on. So apparently people are sending me examples. Nah, this is regular thing because they said like the Steam reviews are really important as far as trying to convert negative reaction, right? So basically what I got from it and from the community managers was this. It was kind of like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And again, when I say community manager, I'm talking about people who are not community managers at Bethesda. I'm talking about community managers from multiple, disciplines, just to see what the energy is. So the vibe, they're like, yo, Cog, is damned if we do, damn we don't. If we don't do nothing, you guys don't listen to community. And if we do something, oh, look at how pathetic you are. So I understand that. I can empathize with that. I just had to look at, my first reaction was the human element first as to why. So yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a thankless job, so to speak. So I get it. I do find it funny. I'm not gonna lie. Still, there's a part of me that's still humorous about this. But if it has any positive effect, I guess if you're trying to, I hate to use the word, damage control something of, that's received negative reception, on Steam, and it's an important platform, what I look at it is like, how you go to a doctor's office or you see the Google review or hotel, and it'd be like, yo, the rooms was dirty, the bed wasn't made, the AC was going on all night. Don't stay here.
Yeah.
We're sorry to, that you had Mr. Matty Plays this experience, right? Did you know that if room service was open, available at this time, and please that's what this is to me, right? Now, the question is, how effective is that? That I don't know. I don't have any metrics. I don't have any data on that part. But to me, this is the equivalent. I compare this to the 3-star, 2-star and under hotel review that people look at that algorithm and they go, wait a minute, we have to get on this to show them that we care and whatever. So I am curious your thoughts here. I did send you a couple things in reference to community manager stuff. And then the third quote that you wanted, I did found it.
Yes, I got the third quote here.
Cool.
Just wanted to read it real quick.
Let's go.
Greetings. Thanks for taking the time to leave a review for Starfield. You can fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield is an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. Most quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. try creating different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are opposite of your previous character. And they go on to say the same thing as before. So it's clearly like a push internally from the support team to right the quote wrongs of Starfield. Yeah, it's like a weird thing here to see here. Like, because I'm seeing some people in the industry going, well, why are people reacting to this? What do they expect? This is normal. I'm like, weird things developers are doing or teams connected to developers are doing being normal doesn't make it okay. As in, you should not be tackling feedback this way. We've kind of figured out how feedback should be tackled. Let's say Bethesda had something to say about these reviews or had something they wanted to clearly re-solidify with Starfield about its exploration or how you can do a lot of things in multiple playthroughs, right? You put that as part of your, Bethesda net post, which they use as an outlet for all of their news on Bethesda games. You don't go and individually it says in brackets next to their name, like Bethesda Kraken developer, Bethesda Falco Yamaoka developer. You don't go and personally respond to these reviews. That's not going to overturn things the way you want it to, because what it shows to me is a failure to understand what would turn for many people Starfield around and what has worked for every game. Unfortunately, you got to go ostrich mode. Put your head in the sand. You got to just let everyone beat up on you. And I'll talk about that kind of coverage in a moment. You got to let people just take their swings at you. We're unfortunately that kind of industry. People are going to keep swinging at Starfield. You just got to grit your teeth and bear it, because what we've seen also time in, time out is when you hang with it and you get on the upswing and you deliver the content people are looking for, the fixes people are looking for, that is what wins them over. What doesn't win them over, and I doubt it's this approach from them internally. They're probably like, oh shit, mixed isn't really convincing. People are probably going to skip out on our game on PC. Like, we want to go and right that wrong. So I get why they want to get in there. But if you want to have an earnest conversation with your audience, let like a spokesperson like Todd Howard shepherd that, not some what looks like a random developer response. Like, people are probably looking at this thing like it's a programmer or it's one of the artists on the team just getting involved saying like, no, this is what the game actually is. And what sucks about this is it's the same thing that happened with 76. The customer support team makes shit worse for the development team who had nothing to do with this. So yeah, I think that even though there are members of the industry going, this is normal, I'm like, it shouldn't be normal. It's stupid. It's shitty. It's weird. It's wrong. And it's not the end of the world. I think some people may be overreacting to it, but you shouldn't be telling your customers how to feel. Go work on the product based on their feedback and make those proper adjustments. Now, in that same note, I do want to say that some people, I mentioned earlier, are swinging on Starfield for what I would say are very obvious reasons. If you are a outlet, I'm not talking about YouTubers and personalized opinions. There was a tweet from Kotaku that I quote tweeted, which is, it says, why is Starfield hemorrhaging active players? We made a joke about it at the top of the show. And this, by the way, some people were like, it's a one-time thing. Why are you reacting to it? Fucking design director of League of Legends was like, there's irony in this tweet. Fuck off, bro. Sorry, fuck off, man. I'm so tired of selective stupidity. This idea of missing the point. Yeah. Starfield is absolutely an SEO farm, sorry. Search engine optimization. And by that, I mean...
Yeah, tell me what an SEO farm. I was curious.
So when you decide to make a lot of content for a particular game, when you look up Starfield, your shit rises to the top. So it's about covering as much ground as possible. Live sites do this, like IGN will do this. They have like a dedicated guides team. They have the news team, right? And so like anything happens to Starfield, they got people set to cover it.
So that's one way you can optimize. Creators can be provocateurs, and journalists can utilize things to promote. I just want to know that both sides. Okay, cool.
And so what I don't mind is if you are an individual with an opinion on Starfield. As I put in my tweet, I said, I understand if people are disappointed with Starfield, and I'm not here to try to ever take that away from you, because I get that it's divisive.
Facts.
But the amount of dragging that this game has been put through, by the way, not on the merit of its quality, but I'm talking about shit like this. People trying to make headlines out of a single player game losing players and by the way, still having a strong player count, almost 3 months after its launch is insane to me. I know it's Kotaku, but there are tons of examples. Actually, someone had put it in the replies here how Star Wars Outlaws has seamless ground to space transitions, unlike Starfield. Another one here. Baldur's Gate 3 was a huge leap forward for RPGs. Starfield is a stumbling step backwards. Like, I'm not saying you got to love the game. If you have something critical to say about Starfield, please say it. Bethesda needs to hear it. But what's happening is now the conversation and the dragging of this game, it's because there's so much money in taking a shit on this game. And that's not to say that people like YouTubers making reviews who feel a certain way are making it just to make money. I don't believe that's the case, personally. But I also believe it would be equally disingenuous to start assuming that these sites don't clearly see the blood in the water and are going for it. And they're clearly rising up the search engine because right now, Starfield negativity clicks, like that's what generates buzz, right? I say this as someone who's created a lot of Bethesda content for years. Right now, like I've made a couple of positive videos surrounding Bethesda, what's happening with them. People aren't looking to hear that. It's not I'm doing it because I want to talk about that shit. It's not driving traffic. What drove the most traffic is when I made a video saying, and it was not a negative video. It was called "What's Happening with Starfield." That was the last high traffic Starfield video I had, which was like almost 100K.
This is interesting. So, like, would you say so? Based on like algorithms and stuff like that, you were noticing that the negative connotation when you were being critical, honestly critical, right? That seemed to drive more engagement in this particular.
As it stands now, and a lot of people blanket that as saying like, oh. That's the case for a lot of games, but I look at Baldur's Gate 3. Like, no, if you know, like you drove engagement for that game with a lot of positivity, and so I'm just talking generally now creator stuff that I don't expect everyone to have a full, complete grip of. But and I'm not trying to take away from the main source of the conversation here,
correct?
By the way, which is about these reviews and Bethesda's kind of weird response to them, which should be critiqued. But also, I just feel the conversation around the game has been equally super toxic to the point where like even me as like a guy who creates a lot of Bethesda content, I don't want to engage, man. Like I've kind of stepped away. It's in fact kind of changed my demeanor and how I make videos. I'm very much like I still have my energy, I have my personality. I'm not going to let myself get like neutered like that. Yeah. But I'm just kind of all business. Like I show up, I'm going to say my piece, take it or leave it. I'm not engaging in this warfare that people want to have over this game because websites are seeing how much traffic that drives. Like they're actively feeding that conversation. And so again, when I see developers saying things like, oh, what Bethesda's doing here is normal, or I got developers trying to take a fucking shot at me, acting like me pointing out disingenuous headlines are a problem. Again, I do not condone this selective stupidity the industry's become mired in to make points on Twitter. It's ridiculous. So that's just where I stand on it. I've rambled long enough, and I'll happily get back to the core of the subject. But I want to hear from you.
I just want to jump in because I think you're on fire with that, and that's something I've been holding in. Because listen, there's a part of me that doesn't like to be combative, and there's a part of me that doesn't like to broad stroke all, right? I don't never like either side. I don't like to let all journalists do this, all content creators do that, right? But I'm so glad you did bring up that article or articles of that ilk in terms of, it's look how much player count is dipping on this, when historically a single player game, which the kids would call a one and done, right? Doesn't matter who it is, how great it is. You want to talk Last of Us we don't have an article about Last of Us's player count 3 months later is dwindling, right? We don't have those type of articles. So clearly that's why there's a source of frustration for some in reference to this kind of stuff. That's what people are saying. So we just want to be cognizant that it does exist, because what I am hearing from people that this is all made up and this is just the emotionality of people trying to deal with their love of a game. Y'all know I love this game. That is a fact. I'm never going to hide the fact but I'm never going to also hide the fact that this game has critical issues, that it is not going to be liked by a lot of people. And that's okay too. It's okay to say that. What I'm not going to like is when we portray things in certain manners just because of an agenda. I just got to call it. It doesn't make sense, and it's not being rated fairly comparatively to others of a single player ilk that's not live service. That's the only point I will kind of push back on when people say, oh, you guys are just coping or whatever. Fine. Back on point with the review stuff. I hear what you're saying. I do think that's a valid point, as far as, okay, maybe you just take the approach of take the feedback, but like, do this for your patch or your next iteration, your next game.
Showing that you've internalized it in an update is way more effective. And I'm not talking like, oh, we added eating food. Like people are complaining about exploration. If you come out and you're like, we're adding to our procedural locations 20 new things for you to find. Right. That shows like, okay, it's procedural, but like, okay, you're trying to improve a part of the game. Right. And for the next new player stepping in, this is going to be that much better for them. Just little things like that. Like that is more effective. And I know Bethesda has to know this. That is way more effective than what's here, which is like a guy posting a review on Steam and someone, or a girl posting a review on Steam and someone coming in and be like, hey, by the way, pretty much like you're wrong. And if you go to the moon in real life, that's fun too, right? It's like,
I didn't like that. I don't like being combative with someone's opinion of fun. I am with you there. I think that particular one, I didn't like. Gotta agree. The only thing I will say that I have learned during the whole community manager interaction process is that they classify feedback in different ways. So one would be like, hey, we love this game. Hey, game is okay, but y'all need to fix this. And then the third one is like, bro, Bethesda should die. This game is crap. You know that one, right? That feedback, right? So obviously we don't respond to feedback 3. If I am community, nothing you're going to do is change that person, right? What I feel is you probably respond a little bit to feedback 2, which is like, hey, this part, whatever. And if you have like, give you an example. Remember when we did the initial spoiler cast, right? One of the things that was kind of hilarious was like, yo, all you got to do is just hold down B to exit the ship. So if someone was making a comment, let's just say that didn't have full grasp of a feature that probably wasn't correctly explained, but is possible in the game, I feel you respond to that one. Like, hey, you could do this, that, and the third, because based on your comment, I kind of see that you didn't get that. That I feel is fine, but yeah, it's a slippery slope, and I am surprised that people continue to those developers, these managers continue to respond to stuff like that. But the last point I'll say is this: I'm just curious if this is an alignment with the developer studio and the team, or the community manager teams have been instructed to do this just on past practice kind of thing. And if there's not a synergy, because if the community relations and managers are doing this without but that's a problem, right? Because Bethesda may not, Bethesda major may not want that. So I'm just curious about that, if there's a synergy on message.
If I were to wager a guess, I would think the development team has no say in this at all. It seems to me, I could be wrong. It seems to me weird at the idea of like pulling someone like Todd aside and going like, hey, here's what we were thinking of doing. And like, for all the shit people give Todd, I think he does a good job of understanding the core gamer. And by that, I mean the way he communicates ideas, right? And I feel like since he has that understanding, it would be really perplexing to me. And again, that's why I say I could be wrong. It'd be really perplexing to me if he signed off on an idea of like pretty much telling people how to feel about a game, right? Like it's their review. And just like as a reviewer, you don't have to agree with my take, but as you've said, Cog, you don't get to tell me how my food tastes, right? You can't.
Good point.
Can't, man. And so to see that on the developer side, there are like levels to the conversation, and like you're not going to yield the results you want from getting into the thick of it with, and I say this all due respect to the people who wrote their reviews, but like a bunch of random consumers. Like, you want to target appropriately. And by that, I mean the broad statements, the update videos, the developer statements that come through a blog post, videos, that sort of stuff is far more effective in achieving what they want. And another way, if you're so confident in your empty by design approach, then I don't know how they do this, but just again, it's on them to show that and convey it, right? And so that's the most important thing that they could take away from all this. Like we need to be able, like, okay, is there going to be a point in the updates and the patches and the mods that we get why it's, say, empty by design? But again, I just
no, I got you.
I don't appreciate that like other members of the industry are trying to kind of convince us like, no, this is normal. It's like, we're not telling the community teams be quiet, don't communicate, don't say anything. Like, I think there is a cordial back and forth outside of a rowdy bunch between gamers and the community teams, and there's an understanding of their roles in the matter. But with this kind of stuff like this, if it's happening, it shouldn't be happening. And it's not just, and if that's the case, I'm not just honing in on Bethesda. I'm honing in on whoever else is doing this. I just don't think it's normal. If they're writing in to you directly, sure. But in a public forum of reviews, you stay out of it. It's just that simple, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. It's an interesting discussion. I'm glad we're having this because this is important. And I am learning about this kind of stuff. I didn't know other stuff could exist like this.
Oh, I see what you just linked me here.
Yeah, some stuff kind of dropped. Yeah.
Remnant 2 and Remnant from the Ashes are now on Game Pass. Remnant 2. Okay.
All right.
Do you have a new pick of the week?
I know. I'm like, damn, I would love to know this. Yeah. I can't change up now, Buzz, but that's a get. That's a nice get, man. Remnant, Game Pass, both. You can play part 1, catch up, then play part 2. And people, shout out to my man shout out to Ty Travis. Like, yeah, they go hard for Remnant. So this is a good look.
Yeah, Ty Guy Travis is the one who put me onto that.
Yeah, Travis goes hard.
So I had it installed for a while, but I never got around to playing it.
Mm-hmm.
We got this last little bit of news here. Tim Stuart, Xbox CFO, spoke at length about Xbox's push into AI as well as an update on the Activision integration. This article comes from techraptor.net, and I wanted to include some of the direct quotes here. So we are going to read part of the article. Say, during a live stream conference, Stuart mentioned that he had never been more excited about a technology shift in the gaming landscape as he is with AI, comparing it to the inflection point for Microsoft to the shift from discs to consoles to online games and games as a service like Fortnite and Minecraft. He then describes what he sees as an advantage of AI for developers. Quote, on the developer side, you think about the millions and millions of dollars in a game spent on localization scripts, how you think about players moving from point A to point B, and you have non-player characters that have dialogue. AI can take care of all of that. You now say, I need the player to get from A to B, and instead of having to write thousands of lines of scripting or code, you just have the AI get you from A to B. Things like localization and putting things into new languages. When we think about game testing, a million AI bots could run through a level of Minecraft and find where players get stuck, where they spend money, how they think about the level. So this is pun intended game changing for the developer. On the consumer side, Stuart brought up an example of a Minecraft player meeting Hermione from Harry Potter, driven by AI, running through Hermione's scripts and having a nice, unique moment. Moving back to the development side, Stuart mentioned that if there are 100,000 game developers in the world across all companies, with AI, you could generate code, instances, games, and art assets, opening up the ability for anyone in the room to be a game developer. That, according to Stuart, changes things from 100,000 game developers to millions and millions, saying the barista at your local Starbucks has an awesome idea for a game, and they can now use Copilot and AI to go create a great mobile experience. Stuart believes that there will be an explosion of citizen creators releasing simple AI-generated mobile games and creating a new wave of multi-platform unique experiences, obviously all built in AI. While he thinks that we're still a little ways away from that, now people can already generate art assets and ideas are already being generated as well. So Stuart expects to see a pretty fast acceleration on putting art plus the code of the level design together, creating some great games, I should say, in a short while. We also hear that Microsoft is full speed ahead on AI with CEO Satya Nadella, CFO Amy Hood, and senior leadership investing resources, time, and energy into this space. Speaking of Copilot in games, Stuart talked about the possibility of players receiving recommendations of games fitting their tastes and moods. So if you like Starfield and you're in the mood for something spooky, a Copilot-like AI can help, saying, quote, we see you like these kinds of games. Your friends play these types of games. You should go play Dead Space. Pick a game like that, end quote. Continuing on, they talk a bit about the Activision acquisition. Stuart explained what it's all about and that the pace of the integration between the two companies is considerable. Quote, but really at the highest level, it's leveraging what Activision is so good at, which is consoles and PC and mobile. How do we take that great DNA, make it an accelerant to the IP that we have, leverage the great assets that they have and the expertise that they have. And thankfully, we both talk in a gaming language. And even though it's even the few months that we've been in an entity, the speed of which we've integrated and the speed at which we've worked together is really impressive. End quote. Got a little bit more here. While he's not announcing anything broadly, Stuart explains that Xbox's mission is to bring the first-party experience and subscription services to every TV that can play a game. Quote, that means smart TVs. That means mobile devices. That means that means what we would have thought as competitors in the past, like PlayStation and Nintendo, were going to NVIDIA's GeForce Now, their gaming subscription service. End quote. So there's a lot here, Cog. There's a lot here to unpack. And I'm just wondering what you think about Xbox's direction here, in particular with AI and the pace at which things are coming together with here on the Activision front. Any thoughts on what Tim Stewart, CFO at Xbox, had to say about the matter?
Well, Tim was outside. He had a lot to say.
You did have a lot to say.
Wow, where do I start? Let's start with AI first. Look, it's a lot to unpack. I think that, we've been hearing more of it. We've been hearing Microsoft's aggressive nature there. Like we said in the previous Duke, it is one thing that, in fairness, even though I am a person who is very tech forward, it is something that I do feel does need regulation, and it does need to be monitored and utilized correctly, because gaming is a creative space. It is something that comes from a human element, right? And we don't want to completely take that out of it. But at the same time, we do know games cost more money. Games take longer to make. As far as, I love the line about localization, I have to be honest. One of the things that Xbox is really failing at. I mean, we talked about last Duke about how they're doing bad in these European countries minus UK, Germany, right? And we saw, was it a 52% drop off?
Yeah.
A lot of it is obviously PlayStation brand popularity, but a lot of it is, I shout out to my man, what's his name? Jovar from Iceland. Localization is huge. If you can't play the game to speak your native language, it's like you don't care about me. Do you really? You here, but you're not really here. It's an absent parent. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. So I look at that. I look at, certain aspects to make it easier for development. That is huge for me. Now, again, me personally, if it gets utilized outside of that and more about, storylines and so on and so forth, not that I am against it, but I am confident that the gamer that Mr. Matty plays will sit there and say, that sound phoned in, that sound canned, that ain't it. Trust me, it's how the tool is utilized. If it's utilized in a bad way, we're going to call out. We're like, that ain't it. But there's a part of me, again, call me the tech optimist, and the guy that loves to see where things go. We've been using AI, and this stuff has been going on for years. It's the same thing when you jump online and you search a couple things, and they start sending you, based on your love on Ninja Turtles, we think that you'd like this. This has been going on for years. Like all of this predictive text, all of this is AI that has been going on that we accept freely. It's just that I feel that Microsoft sometimes is ahead. The question is, are they too ahead, right? And in the implementation. So that's the first part on that. I did like a lot of the stuff that he did say, though, in reference to it. As far as the Game Pass model stuff, I thought that was interesting. They talked about the consoles, right? They talked about how they don't utilize that as the end all be all, because a lot of the talk right now is, hey, are they committed to it? Are they getting out of the market, or will they become a publisher? You start to hear them talk about, hey, we love to have our stuff everywhere. We love to have on PlayStation, Nintendo, and that kind of stuff, right? So this is where I will give pushback to my beloved Microsoft, right? I do understand people who say the messaging sometimes in this front between the consoles and Play Anywhere and what platforms get what is inconsistent. This is where I got to give Cobra Commander his flowers, your flowers, with the talking out of the sides of the mouth. You can't, this is where, again, I'm not condoning Tim, right? I'm just saying that on one hand, you're saying, this is how I look at it. You're saying, hey, Microsoft ecosystem, PlayStation ecosystem, Nintendo, we want it to be there. Yeah, that's fine for Minecraft, Call of Duty, because you're talking to investors. Investors are listening. Oh, where are we? How much bread we can make? All right, Call of Duty over. Oh yeah, we like that everywhere. Yeah. On the other hand, you still got consoles out here, right? And we're not maybe necessarily ready for a full transition at this point. We do know, what is it? The code, I forgot the code name of the new, they are making one. That their whole business got leaked. We know another one's coming. After that, I don't know. But what we have to be fair to the people who say, are they committed? The other hand, I mean, as far as committed to this, every game be everywhere, every screen be everywhere.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we have a situation like ZeniMax, right? Where you got, okay, Starfield's coming out. Oh yeah, that delete that PlayStation version. That's coming over. Delete that Refueled. That's coming over here, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the inconsistency, because if you're a PlayStation fan, you say, wait a minute, I thought if we all play, we win. Why I'm not winning with this stuff? That's fair. And if anyone wants to say that, and that's why they're not, the people speaking to investors and the people speaking to the gamers are not 1,000% unified. And that's where the mixture happens, right? For us, we got to be honest. We're the hardcore. Part of us, like, yeah, we want to show value in the console. We like that they're doing stuff like that. And to me, the last thing I'll say, because I know I'm rambling, is
you're good.
I understand with single player games and live service. I feel that live service, for the most, like Elder Scrolls Online and legacy stuff, that kind of needs to be everywhere if you truly want to take advantage. And I do think, and I'm just going to piss some people off, I do think long term, if it was up to Microsoft and the technology was there and we had flying cars and no latency with cloud, nothing, everything is imperceptible, right? If we're at that level, they're going to want to put their stuff on everywhere. They tell you want this Game Pass? Oh, PlayStation, you want this? Yes, it's just up to them if they're going to accept it. I think that is something that in a perfect world they would like. It's just that both parties got to agree, right? So that's where I'm at. And I guess the final thing I'll say is just, it's either two things is going to happen here. Just to wrap up. We're going to have a future where everything may be ubiquitous, right? Where it's like, yo, you get a curated version of Game Pass here on PlayStation, right? Even, columnists talk about this, right? You know what I'm saying? That could be a future if they accept it. So they could be preparing themselves, because I don't know if you know, there's already government regulation going on right now with the CMA and PlayStation about this PlayStation Store and how, is it fair that we could only get it from you? If regulation happens that affects the walled garden practices, then yeah, Microsoft will be well equipped to be everywhere with this service and the stuff they do. So that's another play that I can't predict the future, but that's it. But I will say we do know there is another console, and it's, as of right now, it is still part of the overall gaming pie. But they look at services and revenue, the services part, as the higher rank for their business model. So that's where I'm at.
No, really well said. Really well said. And I think what I'll tackle is the AI part of things, because I imagine I just have the most to say about that.
Of course.
And I didn't, at first I wasn't going to say much, because I was like, I've got on, I think, 2 shows in a row about like AI writing, how dangerous I think it is for the creative side of things. But what he mentioned here just kind of resparked part of the fire too. He mentions a lot about the localization and the tool set, and like that type of stuff is really good, where AI can help, especially in the testing department. Like, game testing is costly, and that's a big part of it that I don't think people recognize when it comes to the importance of testing. Is it's not just like, okay, can I detect bugs, but you'd be surprised how quickly a mechanic can come together in a video game. It's about the testing and getting it like ready to ship. That's the tough part, if you will. It's all tough, but that's the long-winded part. And if you have AI that can kind of run through and see where players are getting stuck often, like that type of stuff, that will go a long way for developers, big and small. And that kind of, I guess, ubiquitous tool set will make gaming better. What I'm not crazy about is, I get on paper the idea of, he mentioned here, your barista at the local Starbucks has an awesome idea for a game, and now they can use AI to make it. And one thing that he's all for here, he mentions AI art, AI writing, AI coding, and you put together a mobile game. So not only is he openly advocating for dumping more into the cesspool that is the mobile gaming audience, where they already have enough shovelware titles, right? And Xbox has managed to stave that off. But now we got a CFO who's like, yeah, click to generate. Make it, let someone else think it for you. Go get your bag. And we are so like now dead set on a heap of garbage coming our way. Not just because it's AI generated, but like you mentioned, sir, right? You can feel it. You can tell. I believe we actually just received our first real AI voiced game. And I do believe it's not been confirmed. I am just saying on my own interpretation, I think the latest Ultimate Ninja Storm game used AI. I think 100% if you listen to the voice performance, by the way, even in the worst of the worst Ultimate Ninja Storm games, there is a legacy of incredible voice direction and talent there to the point where it is so bad and so viral that like the main voice of Naruto went, what is this? Like, where, like, I don't remember this line at all.
Ooh,
that's bad. When you got the person in the booth going, I don't remember that at all. I didn't record that at all. Now, people suggested to the voice actress, well, was it AI? And they're like, no shot. But I don't know, man. It's very off key, and I picked it all apart in my Retro Rebound review. I was like, this is bad, and I mentioned soulless, right? And if this is one of those moments where like they got by the defense, right? And I played it, and like you could hear that's Naruto, that's Kakashi, that's Sasuke, but something's kind of missing, right? It could just be bad voice direction. That's a big part of it, but it's so off. I'm led to believe it's AI, and it's just again a testament to how a lot it's at. You can't really put your finger on it. Like something's off here.
Okay,
it's just lacking the oomph, and that's what AI will bring with the aids of the development side, right? Like you will bring in all these tools that you can help test your game, but it's a slippery slope because they're like, what if like the NPCs are written by this ghostwriter, right?
So your issue is because of this automation, the perceptible decline in quality, because you're concerned that could. Okay, I'm trying to understand. You helping me understand.
Yeah,
you know I'm protecting, but I gotta understand the argument, and I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I don't think you say anything completely out of pocket here. I think that's a fair concern.
I think when you look at again the process, you know, if you want to get the grunt work to a bot, accelerate that thing. Let's get back to tighter development times, like. That's the full speed ahead development people are looking for. But now we're looking to replace eventually. And I'm not going to, again, I'm not going for this selective stupidity. Yeah. Don't tell me the goal isn't like, oh, we just made this AI to be limited to side quest, right? Or I'm sorry, NPC dialogue. Your goal is that there will be a side quest fully written by AI. There will be a main quest fully written by AI. That there will be game, like I want to have a game that has a heavy attack and a light attack system, and you send it to the AI. Like people, they don't act like with a company like Microsoft that it just stops there, right? These companies are built off of constant, obsessive iteration, even when it makes no sense, right? Even when it makes no sense. I think the goal is to eventually replace, not key people, but replace people, right? To just, because you have this content machine in Game Pass, and you've got to feed it, and you got to feed it in a timely manner and with key content.
Okay.
And so I think part of the strategy is acquisition, but I definitely think part of it is like, how do we hasten that up? Okay, we got our main story writer. You've created the lore. Put the lore here in this chat GDP, whatever the fuck it is, and say, write a side quest with this lore intact, and prints it out. The main writer goes over it. Yeah, not bad. Okay, like, and that's it. Like, I promise everyone, even if you think I'm off my fucking rocker now, I promise you the goal is to get to a level, because he's already talking about here, and now people can generate art assets and ideas are being generated as well. Okay. Levels, sure. Like if you want to generate the terrain, sure. But man, like slippery slope to me. Slippery slope.
Oh, wow, this is a fun discussion. So what now, right? Let's say it's everything is that. and they like, yo, we got to figure out how to make these games cheaper. And we got to get this mass produce this joint out here. This is going to save a lot of money and we get games out quicker, right? Two things. One, what if they make a joint that's fire?
Yeah, I had a feeling.
And we go, oh, that was crazy. Baldur's Gate 4? Owned by Larry is owned by Microsoft. This Baldur's Gate 4, yo. And Larry says, yeah, they was acquired. This, bro, we was able to do Baldur's Gate even better because of this joint, right? And you like, wait, that wasn't y'all? That was the voice? Yeah.
But see, there will be that moment, no doubt. There will be that. That was AI. But don't you think it won't be shock and awe. It'll be disappointment. Like, like, at least for me, like, like that didn't come from a person. It kind of just immediately goes from here to like, and sometimes when you see it for what it really is, it changes your whole interpretation of the piece at all, right? I've already gone on about writing, right? And how it's like a part of you that you're putting into the creation. And so like when you take that out, what do you really get here? And again, I've talked with one of my editors is for my game script is a professor. Like we've talked about how like, dude, these students are college students are like submitting written papers with AI, man. And it's bad. Like it goes to what I mentioned earlier about like the kid games on Apple Arcade and the shovelware that we're trying to generate. Like Microsoft is feeding the right part of gaming, I think, with like, let our teams do what they want, like focus on the creative process. But then I see shit like this. I'm like, you're feeding the absolute bottom of the barrel worst part of gaming in my eyes. Like if you want to make tools to help people speed up the arduous parts, good. Yep. But like when you start making tools to substitute creatives, I'm not talking like a Todd Howard, but
I got you. I know where you're going.
Your associate writer. And if this is all to whittle down cost of games,
I feel where you're going.
Make smaller games. This has been the fucking thing people have been asking for since the 360 gen. Make smaller games.
That's fair. All I guess I would say to that is that like I just trust the intelligence of Mr. Matty Plays. I just trust that we will smell the stench in the air.
So you think that, okay, sorry, go on.
The gamer's too smart. I feel the gamer going to be like, nah, that's not how this is supposed to be. That sounds terrible, right? And case in point, even though this is not related to AI, and this is not apples to apples what I'm about to compare, but like there's a thing right now where people go, hey, Disney and the MCU movies that's going on, like, yo, we not feeling this direction at all. Y'all are not with the core comic book. Some people feel there's a lot of agenda. That's what I'm just telling what people feel. I'm just saying that's what, and that the quality has declined. I don't know if you saw Disney's president, Bob, whatever his guy's name is, just made a statement today and was like, see, when the bottom line is affected, right? When when the Marvels bombs on box office, right? They go, oh, you know what? We got to get back to the core heart of the program. We got to get back to the passion. Stop trying to tell us a message. And he literally just said that like today, right? So this is my confidence in the gamer, because they're going to be like, wait a minute, this ain't Last of Us. This sound like some phoned in, who this? You know what I'm saying? Like, people, we going to smell it. You see what I'm saying? So they may be able to get away with it with some titles, or I should say get away with, but be useful and practical for maybe a smaller team that's trying to get off. They don't have the resources or certain things, and that could be helpful and stuff like that. But I just find it hard to believe that we ain't going to see something that's garbage and not call it out.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I don't think that's what you were implying, but that I feel like because of development cycles, even a shortened development cycle is long. And so let's say Bethesda Game Studios comes around, it's the next game, it's AI. It's like, yo, this is fucking awful. What were you guys thinking? It's like, okay, well, you just wasted all that time, all those resources. And now we got to wait another 4, 5, 6 years for you to come around. Cause now it's like, okay, we got to get back to the core essence of what Bethesda Game Studios is known for. No AI really, just for like bug testing our game. We're going to just, everyone pen to paper, let's write this thing together. Like, we're not going to use bots for this thing. It's like you've just extended the inevitable at the end of the day. And what it sounds like to me Okay. I am very touchy with how I use the word lazy, but it does look like we're looking for reasons to be lazy. Like, I know voice actors and actresses put their all into their performance, but I'm sure there are some out there who are like, man, you could generate my voice and I'll just collect residuals on that forever. And I don't got to get in the booth. You just get
fair.
There's no doubt people are looking to collect passive income off of this. Fair. And that everyone's laziness is captivating. We all succumb to it. So I can't act like in one of the hardest things you can do in the creative field, make a game that they're not going to choose the easy thing a lot of the time, especially when there's a business and shareholders and overhead. Like it just seems like they're going to eventually.
I got you.
All right, hit me with it. Let's go.
Last number, because this is fun.
No, keep going. This is great.
So what about the joints that we go, yo, who in the hell wrote this game? This is garbage. Like, we have to admit, the gaming industry is volatile because it is very hard to make a very successful game, right? So we sit there, sometimes we be like, yo, bro, what were they thinking? Who wrote this? I'm looking at you, maybe Mass Effect Andromeda, maybe look like the downfall of certain, and we like, yo, what happened, right? So there is volatility in the industry, and we have to admit it is hard out here to get a successful product. So if the AI is fed from God Howard, Drew Carpentier.
Oh, man, you're talking a super squad of writing talent. Okay.
We make Skynet of the greatest writers of all time fed into this algorithm. And they like, yo, you create this. And it's every great... Like, I'm thinking, G.I. Joe fans, y'all gonna like this. There's a character called Serpentor. He was formed by the DNA of all the greatest leaders in his Genghis Khan. What if we got the DNA? We got the Skynet AI and all the greatest writers, artists, and he'd be like, you press the button, it's like, bam. So we're back. So in case, again, my thoughts got broken up a little bit. I was just trying to have fun with this as far as like, I call it the Serpentor analogy, which is, this G.I. Joe fictional Cobra character who was made from the greatest minds, the DNA of the greatest leaders in history, right? So let's just say, my joke was, let's just say AI is being fed this way, and they go from the greatest writers, the greatest artists, the greatest graphics designers. They go for all, and they compile it into this gumbo, and then this is what it's being fed into. Would you be opposed to that? But we, sometimes ourselves now say, hey, the writing or the graphics in games, sometimes we be feeling dudes be mailing it in. Like there wasn't, the human element of laziness and what wasn't there on certain. How do we feel about that?
You talking about with writing?
Let's focus, because my question was broad. So let's focus on the writing part. Let's focus on the Drew Carpentier and the Josh Sawyers, the Todds.
Yeah.
We got a gumbo AI for you for that.
It is definitely the most convincing AI pitch I've received. That it's like a superhuman AI. Everyone's given their mind to it and put a little bit of their selves in it to sustain gaming forever. And that just brings up the question of like, there's gonna be this drop down bar. Okay, I want the Brian Fargo AI. I want to make a post-apocalyptic game. Hey, Brian, can you write me a post-apocalyptic universe that's not Fallout or Wasteland? And so his brain's there. He's like, well, fuck, I was there for both of those. So like, what would I do? And there it is. Cool. Cool. Not practical to me though. But it definitely, I think that would be a convincing part of like, Todd's retired, but he lives on
forever. We got Tupac forever.
See, here's the thing, man. It's like part of what's beautiful about art is that it's in a time capsule. Like that's I feel like we're missing it. It's like that's why I'm excited about my game. Is like it's written by me as I enter my 30s, and so my view on life and characters will be representative of that time. And when I pass, it's something you can look at and hopefully it evokes some of that.
Mr. Matty plays games. I'm a new generation. His game shaped my life, and now he's gone, and I'll never get a Mr. Matty play story again. But
go buy my old ones again on different platforms. Go ahead.
I want to know what the new you would have thought. Hey man, you can live on. I want Tupac forever.
I get it. I just I feel like nothing should last forever. Nothing. Humans, series, all that stuff should everything that's great has an end, right?
The human
lived
element.
a good life,
Human
right?
element.
Like that
That's what makes
human
us
lived a
human.
good life. That series only had 2 entries, you know, like, and it told a complete story. It didn't have that like, well, damn, that sold way better, and we need a third one. You know,
But
like,
what if we
let's
could
go.
get JR, what's his name? GGR Martin? What if we could get him to finish Game of Thrones? Because at the rate he going, maybe we need AI for him.
You know, there are situations I imagine people like, that's one, right? George R. R. Martin finishing Game of Thrones.
We need AI him up.
There's Berserk, which is another one which was not getting finished for a while. And then unfortunately the author behind it passed away. And so now a new team is picking it up. And so there's arguments that could be made like, well, it could have continued on their vision, but I don't know. That's just too otherworldly for me to almost even consider. I know we're joking about it, but it's just like, if it ever got there, again, that's like
ethics.
I hope there are people like me who would be like, look, you can do that, and I'm sure that'll exist, but like, there has to be an avenue for like the sole creator, right? Like,
that's fair.
You know, like I would say, actually, I don't know if I could compare it to like genres of music, because each one has a piece of someone put into it, even if it's not the genre I like. So I don't think I can make a good comparison there.
No, this is great discussion. I think I'm being silly as hell, because I think these are fun discussions. But I just, it's interesting where the gaming will go, right? And the last point I'll say is I look at like in Destiny, right? We're all torn because of Lance Reddick's passing, right? This is our iconic Zavala. This is a guy who was in the wire. He's been in so many things. It's just countless. And I think of a future where there are going to be some people who will sign up to say, I will live forever. Or forget even living forever. I think there will just be some people who could utilize it as like some revenue source while they try to do other things. There are going to be people who are going to utilize it. These companies are going to pitch it. And it's curious to see where that goes and how it's received. But trust me, as silly as I'm being, I understand the ethical part. I understand the human and the soul. I do understand that. And I don't want to minimize that, because a lot of that is what makes games and why we love games, right? And like I said, I'm just curious to see where this thing goes and if it truly makes things more efficient and better for the overall product. If it waters it down, I'm with you. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see assembly line, Frosted Flakes. Everything's Frosted Flakes. Like I get where you're going. You're making compelling arguments, and these are real discussions that need to be had. So I love this kind of energy. So
I got a question to return fire.
Right, let's go.
What would you feel about AI writing and design and stuff being used as part of the game's messaging almost? As in, I've never worked with these tools, so I don't know how they operate, but I guess from the outside looking in, this sort of tale about like how, let's say, how soulless it could be, or like how meta the story can get, right? It almost feels real, like an AI. You're playing a game about AI, which is made by AI, and so it feels a little more real. Like I feel like I would sign up for that, because then that's you, like a person using a tool set to make something unique and send a message. Would you sign up for that?
I mean, I'm always signing up for something to see where things go, right? And I guess it's going to be one of those things that we're just not going to know it until we see it, and we're going to be blown away that it happened, right? And then, it's going to be a ripple effect. It's going to have tremendous, repercussions, positively or negatively. There's going to be people who are going to utilize this in the wrong way. I'm not going to lie about that. And it's not going to advance anything. It's going to make things worse for certain genres, certain games, or what have you. But there's going to be a breakthrough. And I don't know when it will happen, but we will sit there and go, oh my God, I cannot believe that. And I think in this society, we talked about earlier, these kids, right, with the quick and easy, these kids type me in, like you said, in school. They got programs to know that these dudes are plagiarizing and using Google Write-Up or whatever it is called, right? You know what I'm saying? So we've got the signs that they do it. So they're going for this quick fix. And the question becomes, do we lose the quality out? As long as we don't lose the quality, I'm going to be pro for it. But it's going to be interesting. And we have to monitor this as this goes on. This is a very intriguing subject to me.
Absolutely. Great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's all the news for the week. Let's get into the Game Pass pick of the week. Sir, you have one here that we actually briefly talked about earlier.
Yeah, man, I've been putting this one off a bit. This is COG RT Farty again. And this is Cocoon, man. I've been putting it off because I'm going to be real. I got a confession.
Okay.
All right. So y'all know how I feel about Inside. Y'all know how I feel about Limbo. And I believe the gentleman, it's Jeppe Carlson, and he was, lead gameplay designer of Limbo Inside. And then y'all know how I feel about Somerville, which was Dino Patti, and they were all together under Playdead, right? And Playdead was mom, dad, like, you better play Inside, you better play Limbo. These are truly atmospheric, dope experiences with not necessarily any heavy narrative, no voice, but they're just telling you a story through creativity, ambiance, and all. I love games like that. So now they split, right? Remember when I recommended Somerville? I still recommended Somerville as a Game Pass pick of the week because I felt that side of the house that left was super talented. I love the human element of it, the emotion, and then the story of what it was trying to tell at the end if you end the game. However, I did feel there were technical issues that prevented it from being an Inside level quality. Now faced with Cocoon. I remember, Matty, you showed me the picture because you're like, yo, this is your boys. This the other guy. It's like your parents got divorced. So I'm like, yo, you're like, he's mom. And I'm like, oh, word, mom made a game now. She free and dash on her own. Let me see, right? And I ain't gonna front, man. At first I was like, I think you're missing a little bit of the art style and direction from dad because I don't know, what is this? I'm gonna be honest, that was my perception coming out. I didn't like the aesthetic, so to speak, when I first saw it. But I have to say, mom is doing her thing. I really gave her a shot.
Good for mom. Good for mom.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So you start off, this game has no story. There's a beam of light that comes down. It launches into a mountain. There's a literal cocoon, and you come out and you're this little dude with wings. There is literally no story. I'm like, what is this? So at first, Carl got
starts.
Just start. Nothing. No. Right. I'm like, Kyle, like, what is this? Mom, what are you doing? This don't look like you need dad still. I don't know. So I get out. All he's got is the A button. I'm like, all right, you can't jump. It's just, all right, what am I doing?
You're harsh out the gate is what I'm getting from here. Like, you immediately are like, nah, what is this?
I was so ready to drop this. I'm like,
wow.
Nah, mom, Somerville got you. Like, So we keep going, and then I get to like the first little puzzle element, and then you interact with this thing, and it's like a conveyor belt, and it moves around. Simple puzzles, nothing too crazy. Finally figured out. I was like, okay, I think I got the flow of what the game is. A button, activate something, lead to the next area, go, puzzle, boom.
Yeah.
But then mom was like, let me show you something. So you get to this point, you're doing everything in this one world, and it's kind of like a biome that's almost desert-like, and there's, little creatures here, but mostly puzzle elements. There's this one part where you do all this stuff, and then the character looks at you, flies 3D into the screen. You go out of that world, that whole biome, you out. Transport to a new biome. The biome you was just in is now in a capsule, and you running around with this. And then you could go back and forth between these worlds in the most seamless, dope way. Conceptually, it's simple, but the concept is fire. Then I'm like, word, you think that's just all it is? Oh no, we got bosses too. You're going to utilize. Yes, you're going to utilize these puzzle things that we've been slowly building up towards you. Right? And fight this bug-like creature, do all this stuff. Okay. Then mom was, you think we done? Then you're going to go into another world. We're going to give you this other thing that lets you create paths that didn't exist. Almost like think of like you holding like a torch, and then who does it? This game that just came out that performed bad. Technically, it's a Souls-like. It's not Remnant.
Lords of the Fallen?
Yes. Remember how Lords of the Fallen got the thing and you walk around and it's the dimension that you don't see? Imagine you get another thing and that now changes the gameplay mechanics again. So they keep introducing new mechanics that add on to more solving previous puzzle elements, and you could kind of go back and forth between these dimensions and realities, and then the emotion starts to kick. And you're like, oh, I think I'm starting to put a little bit together about what's going on. And I'm starting to see a connected universe between maybe a potential inside and stuff like that. If people played Inside, you remember one of the secrets was like these little globes. And you got to find them in hidden areas and you unlock it. And then if you get all 6, it gives you a secret ending or something like that.
Okay.
Why is that globe inside this game? I said, oh, okay. And you have to utilize this for a lot of puzzle mechanics. Look, I'm very close to the end. I have to admit I was completely wrong about this game. Completely wrong about
like
this game.
Right now, or?
It is special. It is. Wow. It's simple, but it's special if you keep giving it a chance, and it wows you and makes you laugh like, yo, how did they even think about doing some craziness like that? And it's atmospheric. The music is great. It sets up the tone. It has tension when it has to have tension. Man, like, yeah, like he's got one. They've got one. It's a shame mom and dad can't get together again because y'all both amazing. But I have to say, I thought dad would be the better one because artistically, dad looked like I thought was where they need to go. But mom is the soul. And I'm like, yo, they got it. So give Cocoon a shot. Soul is
important. No AI, right?
I knew I was going to get caught.
Soul is important.
Fair enough. Yeah, like the Cocoon, y'all. Give it a shot. It's not that long. Maybe 6 to 7 if you get stuck. I'm close to the end. I just don't want to cheat because I'm like, I could figure this. I know I could do it. And I'm just so close to this last little puzzle joint. But they really put things together in a very creative and cool way. And man, it's a gem, man. It's an artsy-fartsy, but it's a gem. Give Cocoon a shot, y'all.
There we go. All right. Last question of the show, Cog, and then we're out of here, comes from J Boogie 327. Okay, Dukes, if you're in charge of the Game Awards, do you allow GTA 6 at your event? Yes, there is larger, beefier security presence, but you've had fans run up on stage at your past 2 events in differing countries. If you're trying to build video games into an Oscar or Grammy level event, do you allow this product at the stage of your event? Have a good one, Dukes. And Age of Wonders 4 being snubbed is a crime. Thank you, J Boogie, for writing in. Now, I thought this was interesting from 2 angles. Number one, we can just predict, like, will GTA 6 be at the Game Awards? But also, with the person who runs on stage asking for GTA 6, is there vindication if it ends up being at the event? What are your thoughts?
Look, nobody need to be running up on no stages right now, bro. I think Geoff, he gonna have the shooters on deck. Y'all better stop playing with him. Like this. Yeah, I got away with it. I was shocked that they didn't have that level of security to begin with. That was not a good look. But GTA 6, if it's ready, it's got to be there. It's got to be there. This is one of the biggest games of the year, and a potential game of the year contender. We've already saw the leaked, kind of thing earlier. Yeah, you gotta allow it. You can't be in fear of announcing something based on the response of others. That's how I look at it. So yeah, if it's there, it'll be there. And but I believe Geoff will have the shooters on deck just in case. So if you get close, that's on you. Get tackled.
Someone's gonna find out.
You can take it. Yeah, you go F around. You gonna find out.
Yeah, man.
What do you think?
I'm glad they're beefing up security. I'm with you. I thought it would always have been like that, but I'm glad they're at least responding to it. I feel like after the first one, that should have been the response, but hopefully there isn't a third opportunity here. But with that said, GTA 6.
But yeah,
I don't think it'll be there.
Ooh.
I don't think it'll be there. I think GTA 6, in fact, I feel very, very confident that this will not be there and it will come after the Game Awards.
Okay.
I say that because to me, if I am Rockstar, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I think it does not make sense to share the stage. This is a game that will break the internet. Yes. This is a game that will do more numbers than anything the Game Awards could do. So let everyone shoot their load, know the news is over, and guess who's going to be the talk of the town afterwards. I can almost guarantee it. GTA 6 will not be at the Game Awards. I feel stupid confident in that. Like, there's just don't think it makes any sense for them to share the stage. They've never had to. They've never needed to. Their presence, their IP is bigger than anything the Game Awards could be, in my opinion. So I don't think they need I don't think they need Geoff. They're one of the very few companies that can stand on their own 2 feet and say, I'm talking about like as a game developer and Rockstar.
Yes.
Stand on their own 2 feet and be like, look, we are bigger than anything you are going to show. So yeah, go ahead. You all go first. We'll see you a couple of days afterwards.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if like in that window of like 4 days, GTA 6 gets announced. So like when is the Game Awards? It's the 7th, right?
7th,
so,
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, like the 11th. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay. Something like that. Or maybe on the weekend. I don't know. Yeah. That would also be just a baller move. I think they're gonna do it after the Game Awards, no doubt. Because that's like the safest environment. It's like everyone's made their announcements, everyone's going home for the holidays, and it's like, here we are. So that's my guess. But I think in the terms of, like, I don't think the decision would be made by Geoff like, no, we had a stage crasher. If he could get GTA 6, if what he said in response to Dave the Diver being nominated as an independent title is anything to go by, this is a businessman first, all right? Mm-hmm. He knows what kind of numbers his show would do if he could get GTA 6. He would have taken it in a heart. He wouldn't have fucking thought about the stage crasher. No doubt in my mind. So I think if he could get it, he would, but I don't think he will be able to get it. So
fair assessment. I see where you're going.
We shall see. Now with that is the end of our show. So, sir, it's time for our weekly hashtag. What do you want to roll with this week? We had a long-winded AI conversation. We got into the negative Starfield reviews. We got into the Game Awards. I feel like we got to hold back the Game Awards one for like next week's show, right? So, what do you want to rock with this time around?
I think the AI is very sad. That's probably one of our better back and forth we've had in some time. Compelling on the other both sides.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do like DDAI.
We gotta do it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far, you can put DDAI, the hashtag, in the comments down below. Otherwise, you can tag Cog and I on Twitter. I'm at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can find us there. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. We'd love to hear from you. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves. And with that, we'll catch you next time around for episode 153, which should be an eventful one of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox Podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.